I should probably just watch one of the VODs back and find out, but...
Yep.
Okay,
That
we're
sounds
up.
about right.
There we go. So,
Stream.
Hello,
hey stream. We definitely
Hello,
didn't do a
stream.
10-minute stream and then realize everything was broken and then go offline whilst we fix it.
Oh, no.
Nope.
No, don't know about.
Never done that.
All sounds very good.
Good. Cool. Nessa, feel free to do the recap whenever you want.
Recap!
Ooh, that was
Okay. Here it is. Elkus found a member of the Dawn group in his tribe and realised they were bad and up to no goods. We remember the two in the inn who are watching us and don't quite understand what they were up to or why they were watching us. We rest up and then all meet together at the marketplace the next day. We split off into two groups, boys and girls, looking for information and shopping. Oh, information about the Heart of Dawn. Sorry. The boys go to a brothel, as you do, and find out some men of the group passed through the brothel and roughed up some of the girls, one of which has since been missing. They go looking for her and start investigating about what's happened. Me and Amaya visit some shops and ask around. We speak to Bran at the baker's about his job on the notice board. He wants us to rough up Gaston's place in the Royal District after the competition. We also find out that he's seen Vice's wife. She came in a few days before with some dudes, but he doesn't remember much more. Vice and Elkus break into a house thinking it's the missing girl's home, and eventually they find her body in her bed. She's dead. They go back to the brothel and let the women know what they found, who said they'd deal with them if they ever came back. The king has something going on with the advisor, which causes magic to be outlawed. We're here to find a book. And we have a bunch of notices from the board about work.
Cool.
Done.
Oh, nice.
Okay, I think I'm gonna... oh shit, I shouldn't have closed that. I'm gonna have to just dig out individual tracks, I think, that are supposedly royalty free and make my own playlist, because it seems to be like 17 playlists of stuff that people claim is royalty free, and then we still get copyright
All
claims.
lies. All lies. Charlatans.
Oh, that lies.
Let me see if this will play.
Potion seller. I say I'm going into battle, and I want only your finest potions. You cannot handle my potions.
Sorry? What have I
I
missed?
don't know what's going on with this.
You cannot handle my potions! So, suddenly she's a potion expert.
Hey, potion seller. I'm going into battle, and I want only your finest potions. Oh. But traveler, you cannot handle my potions.
What is that from?
I don't understand what's happening.
I feel like
playing
this
a
is
different
something
game.
that we're too old to
I'll send you the video.
You're right, we are too
Probably,
old. That's
yeah.
fair. We are so old.
These damn millennials.
Okay.
Potions.
Even though we are.
So I think what we were saying was that it had been a couple more hours by the time you guys had got back to the market, Vice and Elkas, and that you had essentially planned to regroup with Livia and the mayor, and that would pretty much take place near the fountain. Oh, did I move you over? Yeah, I did move you over. Good. So, it's, I believe, the 2nd of Aurelis. It's kind of cold, given the season, but ultimately not too bad when you're fully armoured, slightly dressed for the season a bit. It's still relatively bustling, but things have started to calm down a little bit as people move past you in the crowds and stuff. Two of you coming out of the shadows have noticed obvious change from slightly shiftier folk to people just generally going about their day. And you return to the market as you can see various people selling and moving on by. You see Livia and the mayor in the distance standing relatively close to the Aquis fountain. What do you guys want to do?
Are we all together?
Mm-hmm. It's literally what I just described.
I wasn't too sure if you meant a few of us or all of us, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what, like last time we left off, like it was just we broke into that room, we saw the shit.
Yeah.
We
found out. Yeah,
to
we
the
found
portal.
out what we needed. We found out that about the girl being killed. La la la. You were with me.
Yeah, but I was just sort of there.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna ask you guys, how did you guys get on? Because we found ourselves a dead end. I mean, no pun intended. We had a dead end.
Yeah.
A dead end?
Dead
Oh.
guy.
Well, we were in the brothel. I found a girl that was there, told me about this other girl who's basically seen or been a part of the Heart of Dawn. Is it Heart of Dawn? Sorry.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, it was a Heart of Dawn, yeah. We investigated it, and it turns out she was killed by the time we got there. So we got a
Shit,
dead end,
killed by who?
basically. Don't know, no idea. We didn't pick up any clues, did we, Elcas? Like anything to kind of lead it towards the Heart of Dawn. We don't even know if it was the Heart of Dawn.
No, all we know is it was just some guys went in, took this girl, suspected as such, but it could be anything.
I feel
Did you
like,
speak to her neighbours and ask who she was last seen with and stuff?
To be fair, we didn't,
I look over at Vice and just a sort of thing of like, oh yeah, we could have done that.
Yeah, we didn't even think about that.
I mean,
we could go
It's
back
what the
and...
guard would do. I mean, I've seen the guard when as soon as anything like this happens, they're straight on. They got the notepads out. They're out asking everyone. I mean,
Yeah.
not their notepads, their scrolls or whatever.
Notepads.
I don't know. I feel like it's investigation 101. You ask around. Do you think we should ask around?
Yeah, no, we didn't even think of
I think you did ask. You asked some
No,
of the
I
brothel
I
workers.
asked one. Yeah,
and
I
I'm,
asked
I'm
the
sure
brothel
they did
worker-
say something about some of the men saying Dawn or something like that of the 3 men that were in there.
What, at the brothel?
Yeah, I
No,
thought that.
they
got
were-
Yeah,
said.
but I'm saying like they last saw her with someone at the brothel.
No,
but
I know.
obviously-
I get what you're saying, but just in the point earlier to Vice being like, do we even know it was the Heart of Dawn? I think it was implied by.
I mean, they
brothel
said
workers
that
they
it
spoke
was
to.
it was there was 2 to 3 men that had hoods and gowns. I mean, we don't know for sure if that was Heart of Dawn.
I'm sure she mentioned Dawn, like heard them saying it in passing. Maybe not. I might be wrong.
Okay, I mean, I could be wrong. To be fair, I mean, majority of the time I am. So.
Well, me too. So.
Yeah. So yeah, good. But yeah, like no. To answer your question, Olivia, we didn't ask around. We just thought, look, we can get away from the crime scene. If we got caught there, who knows what could happen.
Yeah, that is fair. I do feel like we should try and figure out a way to ask around though.
I mean, we can. I mean, sure, we can go back.
And I really, really need to get to that library.
Okay.
Like, that's my thing. I need to
So
get.
what did you guys find then?
Well, we didn't find much out about. Well, actually, we did find out a little bit about the Heart of Dawn. So we went to Bran. Do you remember the notice that he left about he had a job, like if you were willing to do something? It was very vague. We found it on the notice
yeah.
board.
Yeah.
So we did a spot of shopping and asked around, didn't really find out much. And then we went to speak to him, and he apparently saw your wife a few days ago in his shop.
What?
I know, right?
What did he say? Like,
Well, he basically just like we described her, or I showed him the picture. I can't quite remember. It was a long day yesterday.
I think you described her.
And we basically said and she's with some guys we think, but we're not too sure. And he was like, yeah, no, I remember her. She was in the shop a few days ago. She bought some bread. Like basically described what everyone else has every time they've mentioned her. She looked a little bit awkward, not overly happy, but otherwise perfectly fine and of her own free will.
Was there anyone around her? Was she with anyone? Or was she on her
He
own?
said that she was with another couple of guys, I think 2, but honestly, he didn't hugely remember. Obviously, he gets loads of customers coming through the door, but he said he definitely remembered someone like her coming through with a couple of guys, nothing out of the ordinary. He couldn't give good descriptions because they were just generic men.
Oh my god! Like, I'm so close. Like,
She's around. Like, we need to seriously start asking
Okay.
around because,
yeah.
for all we know, she could be next door. And then he basically told us that, and then I'm gonna look around, like check I've not got like, I don't know, spies listening.
Do you want to do a
'Cause
proper
obviously
check?
I can see spies. Yeah, I want to do a proper check.
Okay, roll investigation.
That one.
Investigation.
First roll of the game.
wait, I was certain of what the number was, and then this happens, and I get really nervous. I've got the wrong number, so I have to check again.
Okay.
15.
There are plenty of people around, but none of them seem to be particularly paying attention to your specific group. Occasionally, maybe like 1 in every 15 or 16 people, you see somebody kind of look at Nemea. That's about it.
She is bright purple. I feel like that's fair. I would look at her.
Hello.
What was I saying? Yeah, so we were talking to Bran, and obviously after we found out all the stuff about Fina, well, I think that's her name, we asked him about his job that he had on the notice board, and he wants us to like rough up Gaston's place. You know Gaston, the guy that wrote up the cooking competition guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, well, apparently they got some like weird ass feud going on. Like he hates him because Gaston's mean to him and says he's a shit chef and all this shit. So he wants to like rough up the place, you know, because he's been bad mouthing his customers or some shit like that. But at the same time, he said like he wanted to be in the competition. I'm pretty sure he said he wanted us to rough it up after the competition. And I think I vaguely mentioned that like we had a friend, you, who wanted to be in the competition. So I don't know. I kind of left it as a like, well, let's see how the competition goes, and like we'll be in touch. Because I don't really know how I feel about, you know, strolling over to the Royal District. That place is heavily guarded. Like there's a lot more important people over there, and like smashing up his shop because some baker's got a grudge against him. He offered a fair amount of cash, but
you know what? I don't know. Like right now, my mind is in another place. I'm just thinking.
I think we have much higher priorities than that
Yeah,
right now.
definitely. We have other things to be doing before we could even.
no, I know, but I'm just saying.
I mean, we could find
Vice,
information. I guess.
you will regret it if you don't do this cooking competition. Like you know you're gonna regret it. How often does shit like that come up?
You also know that every shop will be closed at the end of 2 days from now.
Also, I know that every shop in like 2 days is gonna be closed. So like we're not gonna be able to go into places and ask around and talk.
Or get involved in anything.
Or be able to do anything else. And that still leaves us with 2 days to like, you know, ask around, do some other stuff. But like I'm telling you, you're gonna be gutted if you miss out on the opportunity.
I can't. I mean,
Like you're doing it, guys. We know you're doing it.
1 second.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's one thing. You know, I mean, I have been trying to track my missing wife down for a long time now, but it's an entirely different thing. It's an entirely different thing when someone says that they can cook better than me.
It like, come on, like you ain't taking that.
Right,
Imagine Onomeus, winner of Stalvin something or other. We'll think of a tagline. It'll be great.
You know what, Olivia? Thanks for picking up my spirits. You know, maybe some good food and a bit.
We'll find some squid. You made great squid last time. Remember when I bought you the squid?
Yeah.
Maybe you could do a
the
squid dish. That'll be good.
I remember that. Yeah, that squid. Yeah.
So we've got 2 days. We need to figure out what's going on with the king. I need to go to the library and
You're standing up for
it. You need to. Stop distracting me. You need to figure out what's going on with your stupid wife, who you don't even know nothing about.
Hey, I do. Right. I'm just keeping it a secret. Right.
We have an agenda, and we need to get shit done so that you are in a good place to do this cooking competition, and I am in a good mood to eat your food.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Fine.
Also, like I said, everything's gonna be closed in 2 days, so we really need to get some of this shit under our belt before.
Nemea, okay, sorry. I know. I appreciate you guys' concern. You know, we've got important things to do.
Yeah.
You guys are willing to just, you know, just do this. Check out. You know, maybe there could be some information there. How do we? You know, who knows?
It'll be a huge gathering. I'm all for you doing it. Let's go for it.
Okay. All right.
And you know, like, if you want to practice for the next 2 evenings, like, we will totally support that.
I'm sure I've got a frying pan or something.
Oh yeah, you've got cooking utensils.
The temple has a great kitchen, and when I say great, I mean it's basic, but like they have a lot of people coming through the doors, so there's like space to spread out. You can take your knives in, and we can get some ingredients. Just saying, I'm really hungry.
No, I get that. When's the competition? When's the competition?
Let me just. I think it's in 2 days. I don't know.
Is it in 2 days? Sorry, is it
You
now?
guys have the notice board posting.
Oh,
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
let me check the notice board posting that I've got in my
Satchel.
I
backpack.
think Nemea has it.
Satchel. That Nemea
In
had.
Maya's
Oh no,
The
no.
backpack.
Well,
No.
no, you've got the notice about the Heart of Dawn, Livia. I don't know if
Yes.
you also have.
I've got
does
a
it have other
Starver
stuff on it?
notice. No, yeah, that's
Yeah, no,
that's the
just
Heart of Dawn.
thing. I think Nemea took down notes on the remaining stuff.
Oh, I can't find it in my satchel backpack. Who's got the note?
Do you have the note?
No, I don't have them.
I don't
I
have the
wasn't
note.
even there.
Did
Someone
we, by
took
any
the note.
chance, leave it on the?
I don't know.
No,
you
I'm
took,
pretty
you
like.
specifically took
Off the game,
notes. You didn't take the notice because you don't want to take
hang
the
on,
notes.
hang on,
Okay,
hang on.
let me
Hang on.
check my.
Oh, hang on. Gaston
Notepad.
Culinary 30 platinum. Yeah, I've got that. That's all I've got. Notice board, 4 jobs. Gaston
I put Gaston
Culinary-
Culinary Chat. We should go back to the
Culinary
board.
Challenge, 30 platinum.
You could do that.
I mean, guys, you could do us a bit more.
How far
Let
is
me
the
s-
board?
Let me see if I can just find what the notice postings were. Nemea, I'm almost certain you took notes. You definitely said it at the time.
Yeah.
Are you even
I'm
there?
also more than happy to just go into the most local food place or stall and just ask them because I feel like people will know about it.
That's fine. We still
Yeah.
got you, Lucy? Yeah, there we go. So, Nemea, you have notes on you that mention a few things. The stuff that mentions Gaston says, Gaston is looking for a culinary challenger to prove he is not the best chef around. 30 plat prize, 1 plat entry. But the notes you've taken just suggest that it was sort of open invitation until, well, the new information you have is that he's going to shut down at some point. But it seemed open to anyone at any time.
Oh, so it's more like a show up and challenge him rather than there's a competition at 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Yes.
That kind of vibe. But
Alright,
we know everything
screw
will
it.
be shut in 2 days.
You know everything will be shut
Well-
at the end of Aurelis 4 because you know that the convoy delivering the various carnival stuff to Aurelis, or not to Aurelis, to Stalvin, got delayed.
Right, so we could go do it tomorrow or the day after.
Yes,
Before
as long as you
everything
did
shuts.
it early on the 4th day.
Well, shall we? What time is it now? Sorry.
It's about 6 p.m. ish.
Okay. I
Is it
mean,
what? Is it?
6 p.m.
It took a couple hours for them to get back. It took a couple hours for you guys to sort of wait for them, regroup.
Oh yeah, I had it in my head that
Okay.
we'd slept. But
Well, I
no,
mean,
think we have to,
guys,
right?
I mean, it's still early. What are we waiting for? Why don't we go now?
You want to go now?
Well, it's only 6 o'clock.
Sure, I'm really hungry. This is a good plan.
I
This is
mean,
a
we
good
haven't eaten. Come on, I mean, if
plan.
I
Do you need to
don't,
take your own ingredients? Is that a thing?
do I need to take my own ingredient?
I don't know. Does it say on the mail?
sure.
What does it say?
Everything's supplied. You'll be fine.
Everything's supplied.
Oh, everything's supplied. It'll be fine. The mayor said everything's supplied.
Yeah.
Well then,
Okay.
let's
Let's
do
go.
it.
The Royal District is that way.
Hey.
That is correct.
I'm
I don't-
a bit confused because I'm very much still in the idea of just searching for the Heart of Dawn,
Yep.
but I sort of plod along after anyway, just out of almost like bewilderment.
That's cool.
That's fine. I'm just gonna look at. Elkas,
Do any of us notice him looking a bit like confused and awkward, or
Roll
are we
insight.
completely oblivious in our own world?
Sure, let's roll insight. What is my insight? 'Cause I don't remember. Let's see, insight.
I notice shit.
all right. And I.
Switch the rolls. That's not terrible.
Oh, it's 10.
It's better.
Yes.
Okay, so oh, sorry, I didn't see your 10. I saw your 15. Yeah, so Vice and Livia, you've already started walking, and Nemea, just as you start to walk to go with the group, you kind of see a moment of awkwardness from Elkas where he almost doesn't follow the group and then seemingly makes up his mind and follows. So you do sort of notice that he doesn't seem 100% certain, but then he does follow you guys.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Surely.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Let's get going. Let's follow. Catch up.
Just turn these guys up a little bit. Okay. So
So what do you
as-
think you're gonna do? You gonna make a sandwich? Sorry. Okay.
Okay, that's cool.
Sandwich competition.
I just
We've got to talk tactics.
rolled something that's going to change this quite a fair bit. So as you guys start heading towards the Royal District, it takes a couple hours to get there, to get specifically to the Fat Quail. You don't really know the exact location, but you spend some time asking around. And it's definitely nightfall by the time you get there. But you have already sort of, I think we mentioned last session, it's likely to suspect that a restaurant probably opens sort of mid to late afternoon, and then stays open till sort of 1-2ish, depending on the people
The
frequenting it.
establishment.
Yeah. As you get there, as you get to the Royal District, rather, you pass through the same big archway that you passed through before. Immediately, you start to notice the difference in quality and intricacy of the buildings. They're all adorned with various flourishes that the buildings in the Market District don't really have. Some of the doors have like gold embroidery around the corners and stuff. Similarly, around the windows, the wood has kind of intricate woven designs, whereas in the Market District it's just simple planks, or cut wood to make the right shape. As Livia mentioned, there does seem to be an uptake in the guards, but naturally, as it's moved into the nighttime, there was also a bit of an uptake anyway that you did begin to notice as you were moving through the Market District. That made it particularly easy to ask for directions as you move through to the Royal District, or the Market Square previously. As you came to the Royal District, made it easy to ask somebody around. You did so. They kind of pointed you in the rough direction, and you headed on down that route. Coming up to the Fat Quail, there is an image of a plump, duck-like looking creature, duck-chickeny creature, and it's kind of small but very fat, and it's on like an oval-shaped wooden placard that hangs quite high above the door. The second floor has windows, but it doesn't seem as though there's much light from up there. What you see on the base is two large windows that look in through to tables, and a large double door that's very over-the-top fancy and well-made, with all sorts of furnishings and flora in front of the two windows. The whole front shop face, if you like, is very pretty and adorned with all these extra elements that clearly a lot of coin has been spent. As you open the double doors, you see that there are only a couple people in there, currently just having a quiet meal. Everyone roll perception for me. Ooh, let me get this guy's voice whilst I'm
Oh,
My perception was
18!
what the fuck is your stats? Why do you have such good stats?
oh wow.
Very good.
Okay, so Livia and Elkas, you both catch menus on the tables as you're walking through, and you see that everything here is about 10 times the price of any kind of normal equivalent you would buy in the Market District.
10 times.
I do that kind of like sort of noise because I'm like, God,
Like,
I wouldn't
ooh,
expect it
damn.
with this crap. It's like weird.
Yeah.
Everybody lets out a quiet oof as you move through the tables.
I'm gonna whisper to Vice, like, dude, this place is at a different level. I'm gonna like point at the menus.
I mean, it doesn't even look that good.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
The entire back section that you can see just a little bit further, there's only about 6 tables, I would say, in this place. It's very kind of fancy and upmarket. You wouldn't really catch a lot of people eating here all at once. Even for the rich, it's a kind of treat. And if you're that rich, you probably have people serving you cooked food in your house anyway. You can see at the back a long section that gives way to the kitchen, and then a door to the side, a wall to the side that clearly has a door inside the kitchen bit, which seems to have some sort of side room. There also seems to be quite a large double back doors to the back of the place, and as you're looking, you see the back doors swing open, and you notice what seems to be a very elaborate garden, just for a moment, of like circular, what's the word? I want to say enclosures. Essentially, he has sort of different circular enclosures of mud filled with various. They just look like plants to you guys from a
Patches.
distance. Yeah, different patches of stuff.
Plotters.
Plots. Plots
Plots,
is a
yeah.
good word. A human passes through these double doors at the back. Let me just find him again. It looks to be sort of slightly later in years, a kind of middle-agey. I know they're a little bit. He's more on the later in years side of middle-agey, and he seems to be moving quite quickly. And he moves through the back doors as you just see the garden behind him into this side room, and he comes back out with a bunch of eggs and a chicken that's already been sort of cut apart and everything, defeathered and whatnot. And he moves into a back section of the kitchen and begins preparing some things. As you see a large kind of soup pot style thing begin to smoke and simmer to the side. He takes the lid off, looks in it, chops something quickly and kind of dashes it in and puts the lid back on. And he comes out to the two. He doesn't get right up to them, but he gets close enough. And let me find his voice again. He says, "I assume you're enjoying your meal. I will be bringing you through your next course shortly. Thank you very much." And he turns, and as he turns, he kind of sees the four of you, and he looks you kind of up and down for a moment, and with a sort of slightly confused look on his face, just says, "I'm so sorry. The market district is back that way. You'll find several guards on the way. They can show you the correct way. Thank you." And then he turns, opens like a lifting section that leads back to the kitchen, and goes back to the back of the kitchen and carries on cooking.
What? Cheek.
He thinks we're too poor. Yeah, which we are.
I'm gonna like elbow Vice, like you go talk to him. You go tell
Hey,
him.
listen, I was willing to sample some of his cooking, but after that, I don't know
Nah.
how.
Ponce. That's what he is. Ponce.
Alright,
You
cool.
go. You go straight in there and you
I'm-
tell him you're here to beat his ass.
Okay, cool.
Challenge right
yeah,
now.
yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna go around. I want to go up to the bar. So, is there a bar?
It's kind
Is
of
there
like it's
something
kind of a bar setup, but it's more just like a. It's almost like a theatre. The bar sort of serves as the separation to the stage that gives way to him preparing the meals in this elaborate way. It seems like part of the glamour of this place is the fact that you get to see the food you're about to eat so expertly prepared.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna go up to the bar.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go slam my hand down on the desk and say, "Hey, Gustavo, get your ass out of here."
he looks up. You're only about sort of 10 feet from him at this point. He kind of looks up above from something he was chopping and looks at you and just says, "I'm sorry, I don't know who that is."
Okay, right. Well, now that I got your attention, we didn't come here to eat this, what you call food. I came here because I saw the bulletin. I want to challenge you to a cook-off.
He laughs. He laughs for a moment. Looks past you at this strange noise in the background, looks back at you and just goes, "You are aware that there's a 1 platinum entry fee if you wish to challenge me?"
Yes.
So at this point, that somebody that you might not massively recognise, Vice, but definitely by this point, Livia and Nemea, you recognise. Bran, the bakery owner, comes through the main front doors, sees
Baker.
Baker. He also owns a bakery. He sees the three of you and hurriedly kind of comes up alongside you and says, "I thought you were perhaps on your way to the Royal District. I saw you go past the bakery. I assumed that your friend was here, the one you mentioned."
Yes, this is Vice.
"Excellent. Mr. Vice, my name is Bran. You haven't met Bran yet, have you?"
No, I've not
No,
met
okay.
Brad.
Vice, this is Bran, the baker we were telling you about. You know, from like do it yourself.
Oh, do it yourself. That is a fantastic name. I haven't even heard the name of this place.
That was Adam's.
That was fantastic.
It's brilliant.
Do it yourself.
He shakes your hand, Vice, and it's just like, "Very good to meet you, my good friend. I believe we're here for the same reason. And then he turns towards the bar and goes, Gaston! And Gaston looks at him and just goes, oh, here we go. I don't have time for you. You can go, Bran. There's nothing for you here. He says, Gaston, I've won a fair amount. Not one. I have made a fair amount of money recently, and I have the platinum required to enter this pathetic competition of yours. I'm here to prove that you are a terrible cook once and for all. And Gaston goes to him. Bran, all you're good for is making bread, my good fellow. If the two of you wish to enter the competition that I have set out before you, then you will need to first best one or the other. I do not have time to be entertaining both of you. I will
Excuse
have...
me,
hang
but
on.
you
So
didn't
wait, so
put that in
he
your
didn't
bulletin.
Yeah, and if he didn't turn up, you would have challenged me anyway.
Spitzer.
Right? I'm just saying. What are you talking about?
If he didn't turn up,
Although,
I was pretty close to kicking you out.
You can't post a bulletin for a competition and then when people come to compete with you,
Excuse me,
kick
my
them
dear
out.
girl, I can do whatever I want in my establishment.
Well,
I'm
I'll
more
tell
than
everyone your
happy.
competition
oh,
is
is that what it is?
I'm more than happy to house the tournament. However, since it seems I am in abundance of contestants, perhaps we will hold a first round. The normal rules will apply. You will have access to the pantry. You'll have access to the garden. And you will need to make one meal featuring a hero ingredient that we will decide momentarily. The both of you may pass through to the kitchen, and he moves over. He moves over to a part of the bar that opens
What's
up.
going on?
There's a lot of Sevi references in this place.
Huh?
I think
Is this a reference?
that's with you.
He opens the bit that opens on the bar and just sort of motions for you to both walk past. Brand waits for a moment for you to go first, Vice, because you were sort of closer to it. But if you don't move, he'll happily move around you.
Sorry, what? What's
So,
happening?
Gaston moves over to the section of the
Oh.
bar that opens and allows people to move through. He motions for you to pass by, and Bran,
Okay, cool.
the baker, gives you a chance to move first.
Okay, cool. I will go.
Okay, so as you head round past Gaston, Bran follows you closely, and as you start walking, Bran says to you, I'm terribly sorry, I didn't realise this is what was going to happen. May the best man win, I suppose.
Yeah, you know.
I'm sure this guy's voice has changed since last session, but I have very few.
Yeah, it
notes of
definitely
what
has,
they
but
sound
it's
like.
great.
That's fine. That's fine. And I'll just reach out my hand and say, look, man, no hard feelings. Yeah, let the best cook win. And I put out my hand.
Exactly. And he shakes your hand. You both walk past. Gaston takes you to the back section of the kitchen, and he looks around at the two of you and just says, you can see here that I actually have a number of benches set up. Sometimes I have a few meals on the go at the same time. I'm sure you're aware. Have any of you run anything more than a bakery?
Yeah, I've ran my own restaurant.
Oh, we might actually get some competition for once. And he kind of looks at Bran as he says that.
Shade being thrown right
You'll
now.
be at
I know,
opposite
right?
sides
This
of the
guy.
kitchen. Now, what was your name again? And he kind of motions towards you, Vice.
It's Vice Kavanagh.
Excellent. Well, you can go over there. And Bread Boy can go over here. And
Bread boy.
and Bran just looks at him and goes, today will not be your day. And he moves over to his bench. He stands in the middle.
Unrivaled. Sorry.
And he finishes what he was preparing in the large pot. As he opens it, it kind of wafts out around you guys, and you see that he'd stewed the chicken somewhat, along with whatever else had been in there. He serves 2 large plates of it, and he brings it out to the 2 that were having their meal in the restaurant. And he sets it down, one in front of each of them, and just says, "Your last course. Thank you very much." And then he turns around and goes back to the kitchen. Just before he leaves, that group that Livia and Nemea and Elkas are close to, he says, there may actually be a show if you wish to watch, though I can't recommend how good it will be. And then he lifts the thing again and heads back into the kitchen. He claps his hands together and says, right, we need to choose a hero ingredient. Perhaps we should flip a coin. Do you have perhaps one on you?
And I'll pull out that 1 platinum and flick it towards him.
He catches
So,
it. Actually,
yeah.
let's see whether or not he catches it. He goes to catch it. It misses and lands on the table.
Okay.
And he slides it off the table, and he turns around to Bran, and it seems one of you understand, and you. And Bran sort of hands him the coin, and he takes it, and he says, "Very well then. The newcomer. Heads or tails?"
Heads.
And I'm gonna need odds or evens. Would you want heads to be even or odd?
Odd.
Very well. Bran, come over here. And he opens up some things from under the desk, sets them on top. He has a large container of vegetables. He has a covered container. And then he has some chickens, 2 chickens that have been prepared, ready to be sort of cut up as anyone wishes. And he says to Bran, "I have the option for a vegetarian dish, heroing vegetables, the option for a poultry dish, heroing poultry, or the mystery box." And Bran looks at him and he kind of sees the vegetables, he sees the chicken, and for a moment he looks at you, Vice, and he goes, kind of looks at you and just sort of whispers in your direction, "Should we go with the mystery?"
Why not? Why not? I mean, how much more of a mystery could it be, right?
Okay. Bear with me. Okay.
It's the ideal cooking music, by the way.
So he has like a box-shaped thing in front of him with like a cloth draped over it. He removes the cloth, and you see underneath a square box, not filled to the brim. Okay. Yeah, Livia, you're probably not close enough, I would say, to do that.
I was going to be doing it as we were walking into the space. I said it a while ago.
I mean, it takes the whole 6 seconds to cast guidance, so I don't really think you would have had the chance.
Okay.
Guide me.
In this smaller box that was covered by the cloth, you see peppers that look to be a very sort of deep, darkish red, with a very kind of waxy exterior. And as he takes it off, Bran can see it. Obviously, you can't massively see it from here, Vice, but you can catch a whiff. Bran looks at it and just goes, "This might be a challenge after all." And he kind of heads over to his desk. Gaston turns to the 2 of you and says, "Very well then. You'll have 75 minutes. Your dish will need to hero this ingredient. You may take as much of it as you need, but you can no longer take the poultry or the vegetables here. You have full access to the pantry," and he kind of points over to the doorway that he was going into in the kitchen. "And back through those doors is the garden, which is in full play. Your time starts," and he kind of points up to a big circular clock that's hanging a little bit from the ceiling. He says, "Now." And then he moves round to the front of the bar, the other side that Nemea, Elkas, and Livia are, and you can see the 2 people that were kind of eating their meal have eaten a fair amount of it now and are starting to pay a little bit more attention to things back there. And he just takes a seat up near the front. And immediately you see Bran sort of turn around, and he puts his hands in, he takes a handful of these chilies, and then as he puts them down at his desk, he kind of looks at his hands as though he's dirtied them already and licks his finger. And then goes to like wash them, and as he's washing them, you can just see him being like, and then he just starts going sort of like, and he washes his hands, and then he looks around and he finds some water, and he just starts drinking like quite a lot of water. What do you want to do, Vice?
So hang on, can I just confirm that these are red chilies, not red peppers?
They're peppers. I believe pepper is the chili pepper. I don't know.
Okay.
Peppers are like what we use for heaters. Chilies are like
I
spice.
think, yeah, I think.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
I think they're
peppers, I
chilies.
think.
Yeah.
Okay, red chilies. Okay.
Well, it says here chili pepper, so Is it one or the
Okay,
other?
so
Yeah, technically they are peppers, but if you say peppers, like that's the entire family. Chili peppers are the hot ones.
Oh, then they're chili
Yeah.
peppers.
okay, chili peppers. Okay, cool. And I can see my competition kind of
Yes.
like this. Yeah.
Having just licked his finger after touching them.
And so this has got to be your hero ingredient. Am I
This is
correct
the
in
hero
thinking?
ingredient.
Yes.
Yeah.
It needs to be the
Okay.
primary thing of the dish.
Okay, cool. So
my
I'm
headset
gonna
was gonna
look
start
over to
dying
my
at
guy
some
and
point.
say, I said, do you want a glass of milk?
Okay. He looks back at you and is just like, I suppose. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
He's kind of looking
I'll-
at you quizzically.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. Like he's not really sure the difference between milk and water. Like he knows the
Okay.
differences. He just doesn't know what milk would do.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll say, can I just ask Gustavo for a glass of milk, please? Like, can you? Sorry, what's his name?
Let's go stop.
He's not Colombian.
Gustavo.
Gustavo.
I actually know what his name is.
I know.
Used to say-
You can keep calling him Gustavo if you like. He hasn't risen to it so far.
Cool. Gustavo, can I get a glass of milk for my friend here?
As you say that, he kind of just looks over to you and just goes, pantry, and points at the double doors to the side of the kitchen, and then points at the back doors and goes, garden, and then crosses his arms once more and carries on watching.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna head over to the pantry. I mean, I don't know who keeps the pantry, but yeah, I will go over there. I guess there's no operation here.
As you open it up, you see that he calls it a pantry, but it's basically anything that wouldn't be stored in the garden is stored in here in some fashion. There's freezers
Okay, cool.
and things like that, like big containers that are
Cool.
being kept cold through ice,
Cool.
freezer equivalents. And
Alright, cool.
there's like a section of it that's like a cold room, if you like, where he's storing other things, and then like
Alright.
all fresh produce and everything. Anything that isn't going to be like in a state of growing in the garden is kept here.
Can I look for milk, please?
Yes, yeah, it's easy to find. You find milk, no problems.
Wonderful, cool. And I'll just help myself to a glass as well then.
Okay.
Because
He's not close enough. Like you've turned a corner into this room.
no, I've just said that as
Okay.
not willing to
Vice!
help at all.
What ingredients are you picking?
I haven't thought about that just yet, Livia. And then I want to kind of pour a bit of milk and then hand it over to my friend there.
Okay.
What's his name? Bread maker?
Bran. You're not good with names, are you? You should write that down. Put that on your character sheet.
But the thing is, he
Flawed.
does write them down, and then he forgets.
Bran.
Just put bad with names on your character sheet, and then it'll be permanently in canon.
What's his name? Bread maker.
Bread boy.
It's bread boy.
Oh,
I swear
oh.
Bran had a much deeper voice that was still...
Yeah, he did. He was
did.
much more like.
But all I've written
gruff.
is, where is it? Stuffy and proper.
Oh, really?
So I think I changed it when I actually voiced him the first time, and, well, things happened.
That's
His
fine.
name's Bran.
Well-
Cool.
Like the bread.
So, Vice,
Yeah,
as you pass him the milk, he drinks it and thanks you, and he goes back to what he seems to be doing. You see that he's got some vegetables from the garden that he gathered quickly, some herbs, and he's just finally chopping them. He doesn't seem to be too certain about what he's going to do just yet, but he's definitely made more of a start than you have, mainly because you were helping him.
Yeah.
Just before you do anything else, Nemea, Elkas, Livia, are you guys doing anything at this point?
I'm watching vividly.
I am watching, with bright big eyes. just-
I'm being exasperated that Vice is not rising to his challenge and collecting ingredients.
That's fine. I mean,
Just walking around chilling, drinking milk.
Is chicken part of it? Has got to be part of it, yeah. Vegetable, chicken, and the key ingredient, the hero ingredient.
So you
Yes.
can do
Sounds
whatever
like
you
you're
want
thinking.
with the whole thing, but the chili needs to be the primary ingredient that stands out. So you could use chicken, you could use vegetables, you could use a different kind of protein, you could do
Okay,
whatever you
cool.
want.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna make this quick then. I'm gonna grab have a look in the pantry if he's got any squid.
Okay, yeah, you can find there's a whole section of various fish and cephalopods and the like, all on
Let me grab
ice.
some. Let me grab some squid. Yeah. And I'm gonna
Seafood when it's
grab some.
unfine.
I don't think squid are
seafood.
cephalopods. I think you have to be
Oh.
like an octopus to be classed as a cephalopod.
Let's just say seafood.
Okay. Oh, seafood. Just say seafood.
Yeah,
Okay, fine. So I'm
seafood.
gonna grab some seafood.
Your seafood.
We'll grab
cook
some
it.
seafood. Grab some shallots. He's got shallots. I'm assuming
Shallots,
for
yeah.
such a shallots. Shallots. It's the same thing.
Just
it's the
say
same
what you
thing.
want, and then Josh can tell you if it's not there.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure this prestige establishment would have every ingredient.
It
Fine.
basically has everything you're going to want that
Um,
isn't strange and weird.
Okay, cool.
And even
can
some strange and weird stuff.
I grab some salt? Preferably, yeah, just salt, coarse salt, if
Yep.
possible.
Yep.
Coarse salt.
I'm not going to go
pepper-
buy these things for you, just so you know.
No, no,
this
you're-
isn't a shop.
And can I also get some spring onions, which is different from shallots or shallots?
Yep.
Spring onions.
It's all there. You find you realise that there are no spring onions here, and then you think, oh, it's probably in the garden. You head back there, and you're able
Okay,
to
cool.
find whatever that looks like when it's growing,
Okay,
and you chop stuff
cool.
off and bring it in.
Lovely. And we've got red chilies, but I want to look and see if there's any green chili pepper.
Yep.
All right, cool. Let me grab some of them green chili peppers. Okay. Cool. And
Are we allowed to talk to Vice? Is that allowed?
You can try.
Vice!
Yes.
What are you making?
Just wait and
As you start to have this conversation, Gaston kind of looks over to you, Livia, and just goes, please don't bother them whilst they're doing this. I will be updating you shortly on what they're cooking, and until then, please let them get on with it. You can only watch from here. Talk amongst yourselves.
Do they is it just they can make whatever they want, or like do
Is
they
it
have
one
to
dish,
do?
by the way?
As he kind of hears these questions from both sides, he just says, as long as it heroes the peppers, I don't care. It needs to be better than whatever he's making. I imagine a sandwich won't be too difficult to beat.
Oh, Livia. And I'm like, just walk past it. Walk past. All right.
So sorry, Nemea, Elkis, Livia, you guys are just watching. You don't want to do anything at this point.
I mean, we're just gonna gossip about what they're doing.
I'm watching and like twiddling on the hilt of my blade, just for fun.
Okay.
Just for fun. Yeah.
Just, you know.
And we're like, so Elkas, do you cook?
Nothing amazing. I know how to cook some simple things over a fire to survive, but I was
Nothing
never-
elaborate.
No, not really. It's a tribe life, so
What would you eat in the tribe? Squirrel? Bird?
I mean,
That is
what we
so
prefer-
racist.
Squirrel. What would you be in squirrel? Hang on, isn't he an elf? Aren't they like
Yeah.
friends with the wildlife?
I feel like they're also hunter
I'm half
gatherers.
elf. Sorry, I'm half
That was
elf.
so racist.
I imagine like we have like these, like sort of a few herd animals that we keep with us to sort of.
What, on your travels, kind of?
Yeah, because we're like a nomadic
Right.
sort of thing where we move about, but you
Okay.
know we keep one or two animals to sort of
And then the odd
Feed-
pigeon.
feed over time. If the need arises when we're out in the wild, possibly. Like nothing
See.
is out of bounds,
I
but
see. Very, very interesting existence.
except anything with poison, obviously. 'cause you don't know.
Oh, sorry, one sec.
No amount of magic could help that.
Gaston at this point just goes, 15 minutes down, 1 hour to go. And then he stands up and he heads over to Bran. You see him sort of just looking over his shoulder annoyingly for a short while. And then he says to Bran, "What's that?" And Bran goes, "Oh well, I've been thinking about it for a short while, and I'm thinking that I'm going to make a sort of spicy shrimp and maybe like a white bean soup. Obviously the chili will be the primary flavor throughout, just the shrimp's there to enhance it, and the white bean will provide a bit of thickness to the soup itself. And Gaston kind of looks at it and he just goes, this might be a competition you can actually win, given that you're not against me. And then he kind of moves past him, pulls some like tweezers out from his chef's gown. Chef's gown? That is a terrible thing. Apron? Apron. He has like an apron. I don't know all the words. He pulls tweezers out from the front of his apron and kind of moves aside one of the shrimps, and he says, "This one is a tester, I assume?" He goes, yes, I think it's alright. And he goes, I don't. And then he takes a little spoon and he tastes some of the sauce, tastes some of it, and he says, might be salvageable. And then he turns away from Bran and heads over to you, Vice. You see him looking over your shoulder, much like he did with Bran. Make a Constitution save for me, Vice.
Okay.
Elkas, what do you mean by investigate him? You just want to insight him?
Just look at him, what he's wearing, see if he's
Okay, yeah, sure. Roll investigation.
vicious.
Oh my
He's
god.
got a
Come on,
gun.
go away.
Josh, could you sort the bot out? I tried to play something and it won't work.
It's on loop. What do you try to? You haven't put anything in there.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, I'm in the wrong one. Where is it?
In bot requests.
All right, chill out. Fucking detail of what the thing's called, like.
It wasn't unchill. You always tell us to put music requests in bot requests, and you asked me where I put it.
You're like
I
in
put it-
bot requests. It's like, yeah, but it's.
I didn't say it like that. I just said in
describe-
bot requests.
In bot request.
Okay, hang on.
So
I think
threatening.
Sort the bot out. Where would it be?
the bot's on loop, so I don't really know how to do this.
Just imagine Sevi going up to Josh,
Okay,
like,
loop disabled.
Please, can I like do this? And then he's just like, oh god, calm down, fucking hell.
Oh, shit's on beat now. Did I turn the radiator off? I did. Okay. Sorry, where's the con? Okay, that's Elkas's roll. Oh, yours was the 6.
Yeet.
This is too much.
It's hilarious.
I'm gonna switch it back at some point. So Vice,
No.
as he looks
Yes,
over
you
your shoulder, kind of looking at what you're doing, he's starting to stress you out a little bit just being there. Elkas, you can't see too much from behind. So from what you see immediately is like an island, which has a setup of various kind of hanging pots and pans, other bits and stuff like that. And then you can see to the side of that island is kind of desktops that go all the way around, cookers and things like that. But there's a lot of shit in your way. He has... he probably isn't carrying any of his chef's knives. There are chef's knives around. He has these tweezers on him. He's wearing an apron. He's otherwise dressed in sort of chef whites.
He's tweezers?
He had tweezers,
Is that what
yeah.
you said?
Yes, he's a human. He looks to be sort of mid-40s. He seems to be very sort of upright and sure of himself, but he's not harbouring anything else from what you can tell. This wouldn't be so bad if it was quieter, but this is as quiet as I can make the bot.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, mine's quite quiet. I can't really hear it, to be honest.
So Vice, after failing the con save and starting to get a bit stressed out, he says to you, "What are you making?"
Well, I'm making a dish from a rare book that I read one time. I've never attempted it, but I thought, you know what, I'll give it a go.
Are you sure this is the right sort of time to try something new?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna look at the mayor and be like, oh, that's risky.
And what is it exactly?
This is a salt and pepper squid or salt and pepper seafood dish with a fried rice alongside the fried rice.
I see. Seems like you've got the squid and you've got the rice. I'm not hearing anything about the chilies.
Oh, don't worry. It's a salt and pepper. Naturally, is spicy. It's gonna have chilies in there. That's all part of it.
You're aware that if the focus is anything other than the chilies, that you'll lose straight away.
But the focus is the chili. The chili is part of it. It's a spicy dish.
Very well. And he kind of turns and goes back to the corner that he was sitting. As he turns
Yeah,
and
get
carries
back
on
over
walking
there,
away, he's like, 40 minutes left, and then he sits down,
Jesus.
looks back at you guys. Are you guys doing
Yeah.
anything? Who isn't
Doesn't want
Vice
to get
and
up. Doesn't
Bran?
want to get up when I need him, but then he wants to run. Do I want to do anything?
No, the rest of them. Anybody who
Oh,
isn't
right.
you doing anything. Alcastle
No.
and Olivia,
No.
and the rest of them.
No.
Oh, they're muted. Lucy, you're muted currently.
Sorry, hello.
Hello, sorry.
Are you doing anything?
No, I was watching the competition.
I was just looking at this man because I'm still like half in my mode of like everyone's suspicious, investigate, and because he's being a dickwad, just looking at him.
Okay. So, bear with me. Alright, then, Vice, can you roll me 3 of the cooking checks? I think it is... What did we agree in terms of culinary artisan?
It was
So it's just a d20 plus proficiency.
D20 plus proficiency.
Yeah.
Three D20s. Bang! Not 20. Come on.
Okay. You'll need to roll them in. I guess you don't need to roll them individually now. You would have needed to roll them individually to get the +2 on both, on all of them rather, but we'll just add it on, so it's fine.
Oh, that's fine.
Um,
Okay. Thank you, GM.
Sorry, bear with me.
Yeah, I like this, man. Yeah, keep this on.
It has chilled out. Okay,
This
let's
is
roll
our-
for Bran.
We're plating up. Plating up music.
Ooh, okay. So, the time ticks over. Make me a sleight of hand check, Vice, and I'm going to do the same for Bran. It's under Dex.
Sleight of hand, thank you. Oh, really? Is that my sleight of hand? Wow.
Are you secretly very sleight of handy?
Yeah.
Well, that'll play in your favour.
Not.
Not as well as Bran's. So as you're starting to bring the chili into it a little bit, you are kind of carefully cutting it, but you manage to sort of shake it a little bit from where Gaston kind of just shook you earlier and stressed you out a little bit. Everything else has gone really well. But you cut a little bit of this. In the heat of the moment of realizing that you've kind of fucked up the cut, you decide to just try some of it. And then as soon as you put it in your mouth, you immediately realize what a horrible mistake that is, given that it's like just raw currently. You take that bit out and immediately start drinking some milk again to like stop the heat before it comes. You kind of waste 5 minutes sorting that out, and at the same time you see Bran kind of chopping the chilies quite nicely. He's found gloves so that he doesn't have to touch them with his hand anymore, just sort of plasticky gloves that go on. And you see that there's some close enough to you as well to do the same. I assume you do so. It gets down to about 10 minutes. Make me one last cooking check.
Last cooking check.
Yep.
Yeah. Just one, yeah.
Okay.
Lovely.
So Gaston kind of stands up at the end of the time, and claps his hands together once more. He tells you that the time is finished, and he asks you both to bring your dishes round. As you do, is there a good way for me to do this? No, it's probably not worth. as you bring them over to the front plate, the three of you can see the dishes. One in front of you, a sort of orangey, brothy looking thing with small flecks of chili, and there's a kind of hint of like a red swirl over the top of the prawns that are in the dish, and like these specks of green herbs scattered on top that Bran places before you. Vice, you lay down your dish. Do you want to describe it?
Yeah.
Look, how did you plate it up?
So I play simply placing. It's kind of like just fried, lightly battered seafood. Oh my gosh, tune. Lightly battered kind of seafood with literally a dusting of salt and pepper along the top of it. It's very light, but then it's like sprinkled with green onions, red chilies, green chilies. It's just all over it. You know, that's how it looks. You know, with a simple but very modest, in fact, a modest bowl of fried rice next to it, because that's not taking the show. It's all about what's on that plate with them chilies.
Okay. So, Gaston comes over and tastes both. He looks at you, he looks at Bran, he looks back at you, Vice, and without saying anything, slowly, he just looks you straight in the eyes, shakes your hand, he looks back at Bran, and just stands there looking at him for a moment and goes, "Head back to your bakery." And then Bran just sort of goes like, "Oh," and then almost sort of tears in his eyes a little bit. He looks at you and just goes, "Very good," and then kind of comes around the bar and leaves out the front, and he heads off into the night. For the sake of this not being the entire session, Gaston then heads into the pantry and collects a dish. He doesn't collect a finished dish, he collects a few things, and he brings them round to the main table. And you guys see him chopping a few things and preparing a couple of things. It takes him about 5 minutes, if that, to be honest. He takes your dish, Vice, and moves it under a light to keep it warm whilst he finishes up. And then he brings his dish round, and I'm going to roll for him.
It's a bit unfair. He's already sampled my dish. It's fine.
So he brings it round to the three of you. You got that sandwich again. Sorry, the four of you, because you're sort of waiting there now, Vice. And he brings Vice's dish back over and allows the three of you to taste Vice's dish. I assume you
I'm so excited.
You will taste it?
Yeah,
You don't have to?
Yes, let's taste it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as Max eats, why don't
He made
you,
himself a sandwich
why
while
don't
he was
you
waiting.
all roll? He bought a sandwich. What would this be? Why don't you do medicine or survival? Your choice. It's the closest thing I can think. I don't want to make you make con saves.
Oh, we talk about meat, sorry.
No, well, I mean, you could eat your own dish if you wanted to.
Persuasion, I feel like, is more appropriate.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's maybe a better way of doing it. But
What are we
then
rolling?
it would be him doing persuasion, if anything. Could it be insight? This is a role that I never thought would exist.
Maybe
I feel like if all else fails, you just do a
Maybe
straight wisdom check.
a charisma saving throw because it's them trying to convince us how good it is.
I like
I
that.
think- I
That's
think-
a good shout. Ulrich.
Yeah,
We'll
that
go with
makes
that.
sense.
Yeah,
What
did you-
everyone
what
make
did you call
charisma
it?
saving throws
Because I mean,
Oh,
it should
nice.
to see how convinced you are. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I like that. Good shout.
Get it.
Boom! 25!
Doing that one.
Oh,
Oh, no.
that one!
Vice, are you
No,
eating your own
not-
food? You just trying it? I assume you tried it along the way, but you can eat the finished article.
Yeah,
if
no,
you want.
I'll try. I'll try it now. Go on then.
To resist.
Was it a persuasion? Sorry,
A
charisma.
save, charisma save. Okay, that one too.
Oh my god,
Um,
dude!
You taste it, Vice.
It fell on the floor. No, it fell on the floor. I tasted it. It dropped off my spoon.
You taste it, and all you can sort of think about is all the things that you maybe would have done differently. You spend some time, like, sort of really being like, oh, it's got way too much salt, maybe not enough pepper. The chili comes through, but it's a bit overbearing. Nemea, at the same time, you're just sort of sitting there, like, sweating. Like, starting to sort of stream down your face a little bit. You kind of have to wipe your face on your clothes. You just can't handle the chili in this at all. This is easily the hottest thing you've ever eaten. Elkas, this is actually really quite to your palate, but it's like it's really tasty to you, but it's so weird to what you are used to eating. It's far more like dressed up and fussy than anything you would have eaten amidst your tribe or anything like that. Livia, this is without a doubt almost the best thing you've ever... It probably is the best thing you've ever tasted. You love this. It's amazing.
This is the best thing I've ever tasted!
And then I need the four of you to do it again. As Gaston lays down his meal, he has
6.
made...
22.
11.
He has made a chicken-based chili jambalaya. It's got rice in it.
Oh,
and,
I was gonna do a jambalaya as well. Oh my god!
It has the spring
No,
onions,
not the
similar to
jambalaya!
Vice's. Okay. So, Nemea, the chili in this one is refined and is like a sort of undertone that really ties the whole thing together. The flavors of other things are there, but without the chili it would feel a little bit disjointed, but somehow something that was way too overbearing in another dish is just perfect for you in this dish. And similar to Livia, this is maybe one of the best things you've ever tasted. Livia, you're still kind of hung up on Vice's dish, but it's still pretty good. Vice, given your low roll on your own food than that one, this tastes way better than you were expecting, and you can already feel yourself starting to lose this competition. Elkas, is the 6 your second roll?
Yes.
Okay, so you've just kind of got hung up on the idea of this being far too poncy for the kind of food you're used to, and that vein just kind of continues as you try this. It just kind of continues on for you being like, I just want some like fucking boar on a campfire, like all this unnecessary.
At least
unnecessariness.
Vice's one had a bit more of like a traveler's feel
Yeah.
and stuff. This just feels like
Poncy.
crap from Civilization.
So, Gaston nat 20'd on his sleight of hand check to handle the chili perfectly, but he rolled less than Vice on 3 out of 4 other rolls. So as Gaston tries his own food and tries yours once more, Vice, he looks at you and sort of for a moment just goes, perhaps not better, but easily as good. And nobody else has come that close. So this, my friend, and he kind of reaches under his apron, moves a bit of the apron aside, takes something off his belt and hands it to you, is your prize. And he passes it to you.
Oh yeah!
Well, I win.
Yeah, he pays you the 30 plat. It's in there.
Oh,
Congratulations!
30 plat. Oh, God. Yes.
Boom!
He then
Thank you
kind
very
of
much.
he looks at you, Vice, and just says, I'll even do you one better. And he takes you to the back part of the kitchen, and he gets the chilies out again. And he shows you the way that he cuts them so that they're very fine, chopping away some of the parts that aren't really needed. And he shows you a process over about 30 minutes to kind of cook them down. And sort of get the oils out, and you're then able to infuse things with that flavour. I'm gonna say you have advantage on your next 3 cooking checks, or I'll do you one better than that. We'll make it better than that. You have advantage on any cooking check that uses incredibly spicy chili peppers,
Ooh!
Forever.
just permanently.
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 You're like a master chili man!
I'm a master
Yeah.
chili man. All right.
Ah!
Yes.
We must always buy chilies in every.
Like a permanently buy chilies.
Oh, wait,
Every
sorry,
merchant, do you have chilies?
I
No.
have an advantage. advantage
So
check.
on any cooking roll where you have used an incredibly spicy chili pepper, so like almost the spiciest chili pepper, we're talking all the Scoville points or however it's measured, then you'll have advantage on that roll.
Okay.
It's a slightly rarer ingredient. Gaston has quite a few. But yeah, that's a permanent boon to your cooking
I
career.
like that, Nemea. Master of the Spice,
yeah.
champion of the chili. Oh, we can
Champion
use
of
one of those
chili.
lines for Onamis! No, wait, Onameas, whatever it is.
Onomeas.
Yeah, on the mayors.
And you have 30 plat. Your gold has increased by 30 platinum.
Oh my god. Vice, you should buy some of those chilies
New
off
cucumber sandwich.
Gaston.
Dear.
Vice,
Yes. Sorry.
you should stock up on those chilies so we can you can keep using them. Ask him
yeah.
if you can buy
I'm
some.
gonna ask. I mean, mate. I mean,
Hey,
Gaston. I mean, would you be willing to sell any of the chilies that you have?
I can do you a small selection. This is hard to come by ingredients. I'm not in the business of selling these in their raw form, but you can have 3 for 30 gold.
All right.
Huh.
Awesome. Okay. Let me just get rid of that 30 gold. Hang on. Let me just put on that 30 platinum. Oh! Yeah,
30 gold, you what?
30 gold. That's awesome. All right, cool. Yeah, I'll take those, please. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
you add them to your
And
inventory.
Gaston, thank you for the opportunity. I haven't cooked in a long time. It was nice. It was a nice opportunity. I had another great chef, so thank you.
He shakes your hand once more and just says, "You have a lot of promise. I hope that it carries on in this vein. Thank you very much. Good evening."
Gaston,
Yes?
do you mind if I ask, what's your beef with Bran?
Beef.
No pun
I
intended.
just can't abide terrible chefs.
But surely if one is trying to learn and has a passion for something that you share, you can appreciate that regardless of their skill.
Bran is not a young spring chicken. He has been trying to learn for quite some time. Had he come to me at a younger age and perhaps spent the coin, I may have taught him, but that's not what he did. And instead, we have somebody now that makes average bread and can't make much more. Not to mention the number of times that he's bothered me attempting to win some sort of knowledge here.
Well, I mean, you have to also think about the fact that he is a baker. Bakers aren't really the same category as a chef.
He became a baker when he failed as a chef.
Oh dear. Okay. Sorry, Bran. I tried.
Bran's gone.
Right, as much as
mean-
I want to keep defending Bran because I feel like he's an asshole to Bran, I don't want to take away Vice's moment.
And
So I'm
Olivia,
gonna
if you
stop.
want to sort of try some of Bran's food, you can. It's there, sort of on
Yeah, I
the
do.
side. Yeah, you try it. It's noticeably worse than Vice's.
Okay.
Like if Vice's was a 9 out of 10 for you, Bran's is like a 4 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
It's a meh. Yeah. He makes bread.
bread.
Okay, so Gaston sort of thanks you all once more. He kind of treats you with a noticeable amount increase of respect, though you feel that it's perhaps somewhat fleeting. He definitely seems to have a bit more respect for Vice, but as the rest of you are kind of like hovering around a little bit, and asking these questions, he kind of turns to you all and just says, "Okay then, a successful competition. I have guests, so if you wouldn't mind," and he points to the door and he says, so that he looks at the 3 of you now, not Vice, and just goes, "As I mentioned, Market District that way," and kind of like motions for you to fuck off.
Jeez. Okay.
I'm gonna leave.
Let's go back.
I'm like one
Hey.
of the first to just sort of go.
Cool.
Just out the door because I just don't really care about this man.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway,
Okay.
listen. Like let's I'm gonna say to Gaston, listen. Don't be rude to my friends. We've been through a lot together, right? If you're gonna treat me with respect, being a culinary artist,
He kind of cuts you off and just goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. This isn't the kind of place where we do sob stories first and things like that. It doesn't bring in the views as much as other people think it does."
I'm gonna sort of like grab Vice's arm and be like, "Thanks for the 30 plats," and then drag him
That
out.
respect we had is gone, Gustav. It's gone. And then I get dragged out of the place.
I'll miss it terribly.
Next time, Gustavo!
And then you hear him just sort of turn to the two that kind of sat and watched the whole thing. He says to them, "I'm terribly sorry. I hope that it was at least entertaining." And then he goes back to the kitchen as you guys leave the front.
As we walk back, I'm gonna be like, "Oh my god, that was awesome." I was like, "But I really, really feel for Bran," and you know what? I can completely understand why he
I
wants
just
us
saw your
to
picture,
like.
Vice. It's cool.
Yeah.
Carry on. No, not
I
the one in
completely
the frame.
understand.
That's cool too, but the one that you put of your food.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Toby.
Yeah, I'm gonna say basically, I feel sorry for Bran, but like, I don't really know what to do. I don't feel comfortable, despite Gaston being an asshole, in smashing up his shop. Like, that's just not the way to deal with it. So maybe we can come up with some other way of, you know, like helping Bran. I was thinking maybe if like we could say we'd put the good word about him, like everyone we speak to, say that like he's the best baker in town, and like drive traffic there, and then maybe he won't want to like shit up Gaston's place. What do you think?
Yeah, it'd be a diplomatic approach to, you know, solving the issue rather than
Like, rather than smashing up Gaston's place, why don't we just sell up his place?
Yeah.
We could do, yeah. I mean, what's the biggest problem with Bran is that he's just not getting enough business.
Well, to be honest, I can't overly remember, but he said something along the lines that basically Gaston keeps bad-mouthing him and saying that he's crap, and he feels like that's affecting his business, and basically he just hates him as well in general because he's always horrid to him and saying he's shit. So, and I totally get it, like Gaston's like a proper prick, but I feel like going and smashing up his shop isn't the answer. Like, we should just go back and like be like, you know what, fuck him, bin him off. We'll big you up to other people. Like, we'll drive you up some sales. Like,
Yeah.
don't focus on Gaston. Let's focus on you, and hopefully we can deter him from this sort of wild ambition he's got to smash up someone's shop. Because that's just going to get him in trouble.
Yeah, we might be able to convince him to, you know, be positive and to stop thinking about Gaston so much. And
True. Maybe he should. I mean, if he loves sandwiches so much, I mean, I don't know if he makes them, but maybe
I
he
don't know if
should.
he loves sandwiches. He definitely bakes bread.
Well, I mean, maybe he should, start like a sandwich business alongside his bread.
But we should go talk to him, and we should tell him, you know, like, we'll help him drive business. We'll send people his way. We'll put out the good word, and hopefully that will combat Gaston and his stupid word.
Mm-hmm.
So at this time, it's quite late. After the competition, there was a good sort of 75 minutes where that took place. There was a fair amount before, a fair amount after. It's coming up to sort of roughly 10 p.m. ish, and it's a solid 2 hours at least walk back to the part of the market square that you guys were in before, which is about an hour or so away from the Temple of Varela if you wanted to go back there to sleep. Elkas, for you, it's an even further walk because you have to get all the way back to the Shadows. So you're looking at sort of 3-4 hours from where you currently are. The rest of them are looking at kind of 2-3 hours from where they are.
I'll say to him, I'll say to everyone, should we head back to the temple? It might take a while. Elkas, you're more than welcome to, like, I'm sure my parents will be able to find you a room at the temple to save you walking back all the way to wherever it is that you're staying. That charming place.
I would appreciate that. That's actually really nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah. That's my piece. And then I'm going to say to the guys, like, okay, so that was awesome, but tomorrow I really need to go visit that library.
yeah, we need to get back on our murder trail tomorrow.
So we should visit Bran tomorrow, and we should. Well, I need to go to the library. You guys don't have to come if you don't want to. But
That's fine. I'll go back to the brothel.
I'll gladly accompany you to the library.
yeah, go back to the brothel, eh?
We'll go back to the brothel.
Got plans?
I'm sure there's some more information we can gather from there. I'm sure.
I'm gonna look at him and give him the eye, like, you dirty bastard.
I just look over at the others and I'm just like, didn't you say this man was in a relationship?
Yes, we did. Didn't we, Vice? I'm gonna look at him with a grin.
I'm just gonna look down and just carry on.
so
Let's go.
Next.
where are you guys heading to?
The
So I'm
temple.
back to the temple,
You're all
and I'm
going
gonna
to the
start
temple.
quizzing Vice as we walk back
Okay.
about his wife. Right. So we need to find. Is it Fina?
Hmm.
Is it Fina? Your wife's name?
Yes, Fina.
How the fuck do we track her down? We know she's been in the marketplace. We know they've seen her at the temple.
Maybe did we never asked your parents, did we?
Yeah. You
No,
did.
we did. We did.
Oh, we did?
My dad, remember, he said that he keeps a journal of everything that
Oh, yes.
happens, and
Oh yes, he does.
he's seen her. But I think that was a few weeks ago. Whereas Bran only saw her a few days ago. Like,
Okay.
what is she like? Like, what does she do? Is she a faker? Does she cast?
No, she's.
Is she some sort of magician? Like, and I'm gonna whisper it because it's magic band, all that rubbish.
No.
Like, what is she? Is she a fighter?
She's not a fighter. She was just a normal, like, to me, she was. I mean, she was everything to me, but she was like nothing kind of like out of the ordinary. She didn't have any kind of skills, professions. She was just like,
Like, like if she was, I don't know, a expert with a bow and arrow, maybe we could go and find, I don't know, a Fletcher and see if she, something like. Where can we start looking?
I mean,
Because
the only
everyone
thing-
buys bread. That's pretty generic.
I mean, she was really into, not enchanting, but yeah, kind of enchanting. She's really into, can't look for that over here.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
We
Yeah.
can't search for anything like that here.
Elkas.
I would have found her already if we had. I searched out.
We did explain to Elkas about his wife, didn't we?
Did they, Elkas?
Yes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Vice explained it to him. But...
Well, it was Josh that explained it for me.
Oh, okay.
And I took notes.
That's common.
Nice. Okay, so Elkas, like, you seem to know
You
a
mean
bit more
God.
about the Heart of Dawn. Given that it's hard for us to try and figure out where Fina may be, if we could try and figure out what the Heart of Dawn may be up to, maybe that will lead us to Fina. So do you know what their main, like, are they magically inclined, or are they like, I don't know.
Well, what's their goal? What is their goal?
Where do you want to start looking for them?
I don't particularly have any specifics regarding them. All I know is they were attacking my people and I want to find them.
Elkas.
So when they were attacking your people, how were they attacking your people? I don't know, that sounds pretty cruel, but every little bit of information helps.
Elkas, roll history for me.
Cool.
Stomping them.
No, but it's true. Like, if they all came running in with arrows, or they all come running in with staffs, at least we know kind of.
They
Something.
had shotguns.
Yeah.
Shotgun.
They all wore heavy armor and swords. Okay, well, it sounds like they're part of an army or something.
Came with their gats, started mowing them down.
Cat.
All I knew is this crazy R&B music would play. They would roll by in their bouncing cars. Everyone would drop to the floor.
There was something about a Lil Wayne or a Lil John.
Everyone kept saying yeah every now and then, but it didn't make sense at all to the current context.
Said we were going to the window and to the wall.
So, what you remember, Elkas, two things. Firstly, the information that led you to Stalvin, that's going to last Max for a while. The information that led you to Stalvin mentioned something about some kind of prophecy that had brought them there. The other thing, in regard to Livia's question, I think you probably know this anyway, this maybe isn't worth me saying, but the attack by the Heart of Dawn that you came across, which you later found out to be by the Heart of Dawn, you got there well after it was finished.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say, I got there after it was finished. I didn't really investigate too much the weapons that they were using. I imagine I would have seen, the damage that was done. Was it,
Yeah.
Would it have just been mostly, swords, people being cut down?
They
Like, is it a battlefield? Has everything been burned? I don't know. Like,
it was a mixture. There were burns, there were things burnt down, there was patches of sort of I'm gonna say wetness, for lack of a better word. There was the more common stab wounds, things being cut up, all sorts of weaponry, not just slashing, like bludgeon, piercing. Arrows
I
had
would
been
say
used,
it would be-
bolts had been used.
It was like a common bandit attack. It was violent, unorganized, disorganized. It
Roll
was...
Arcana for me,
Nice.
Elkas.
Yeah.
Did they attack your people for a purpose? Like, were you guys in possession of something they wanted? Did they specifically target certain people? Like, I don't
I
know.
know there was something about a prophecy, but I don't know if it related to us specifically or...
Because at the moment, all we've got is a bunch of people who go around killing people for no reason. Like, there's no purpose, there's no leads, nothing. If we know they're looking for, I don't know, some sort of magical item, or if they're trying to kill all the people that, I don't know, are mages or something, at least...
You suspected, Alcast, that there were remnants of magic used, but it wasn't akin to any magic you know,
Okay.
in terms
I will
of the
repeat that
battlefield
sort
stuff. Yeah.
of assumption there.
And outside of mention of the prophecy, Livia, or them having some sort of prophecy, it doesn't seem as though the tale that Elkas has told points to any kind of specific interest.
So did Elkas just mention the prophecy? A prophecy?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
just
thought you
some
missed that.
No, I was coming back to it. I was going with the flow.
Okay. My bad.
What prophecy?
Would I
Hi.
remember like a specific thing, or was it just...
There was just mention of a prophecy that seemed to be why this group is doing what they were doing.
Yeah, that, like, there was just a mention of some kind of prophecy that they were following. That seems significant to you.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's a coincidence or if I'm just jumping to things because you want to you see things because you're looking for them, but they're not necessarily there.
It could still be...
It could still be something. So basically, ages ago, I found this. Well, I didn't find. I got given this scrap and told a story about a prophecy. That was about a group of people achieving something, essentially. I don't know if I can read it. I'm pretty sure.
I can read it.
I've got it,
when
but
is
I
it?
didn't know if it's metagamey for me to just read it.
I mean, you have the scrap of paper.
Oh, that's true. Oh no, wait. I don't know if I have the scrap. I don't think I've written what the scrap paper says. I
It's
have.
in your inventory.
Oh, is it?
That's where I was going to read it from.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So this guy basically told a story about a group of people, and then he ended up giving me this piece. He ended up giving me this piece of a prophecy, and told me it came from this book, and that's why I want to go to the library because I feel like this book might be here. And it says, and I'm going to get it out, and then I'm going to read it. It says something. Seraph peered into the eventual use of, and then I don't know, amid men, and foresaw the prophecy that lay before him. When the keeper, the follower, the veiled, the wanderer, and the chosen unite, they will hold all they need to join the gods.
And written on the back of that is the name of the book, Divine Cognition and the White Lady.
I'll sort of slightly huddle in closer to get a closer look at it, and I'll be like, so is this why you want to go to the library to find
Right.
this?
So this guy told me this story of the prophecy, and then he gave me this piece of paper, and we know it has. Well, we don't know it has something, but I feel like it has something to do with Arella or something because Divine Cognition and the White Lady. The White Lady is Arella, so to me it makes sense. It comes from a tome of hers. And the first place to look for that would be in the magical archive things, but they've all been locked up since the whole stupid king thing. So I need to go to the library. That's basically what's happened. So we always wanted to know what this prophecy is, and then the whole thing's been happening with Athena, and now the Heart of Dawn. It's all starting to just sound a bit fishy.
I wish
And if
I'd tag along with you. This could be something. It's more of a lead than anything we have right now. You know,
I mean, what is it? So they need to join the gods? I mean, that could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. I mean, maybe the Heart of Dawn are about. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to find these people so they can. I don't know. Find the gods or whatever. I don't know how Athena pulls into that.
I have an idea. Maybe they believe themselves to be doing the right thing. The Heart of Dawn, and if they're following a prophecy about Arella, maybe they believe they're doing the right thing and they don't see themselves as bandits. and that's why we're not seeing
I
them.
know, but ransacking clans and killing people, like
Maybe they're doing it.
that's not like beating a couple of people. That's like ruining full villages. Like,
There's a word for this. It's
Religious
called
groups never do that in the real world.
Yeah, fanatics.
Oh.
They believe that what they're doing is right and good for the world, and that they're cleansing it. Maybe.
I mean, maybe. I mean, this is all we've got. This is the only lead we have. I need to go to the library. Like, I don't know. My mum and dad basically said that all the magical books had been locked up and put away. I can't remember what they said. I don't know if they said it was in the palace or if it was locked in a certain place. I'm not sure, but I need to try and find this book.
Well, morals be damned, we need to find them first before we start questioning their motives.
And if we can find Fina, like, I don't know, maybe
We
she
could
can
possibly
say
find
her
them.
something. Maybe she sounds like she's part of it. I don't know, willingly or what. Also, Vice, didn't you say that someone spoke to you in your head?
I did actually.
What did they say?
They said it was someone, a female voice. I don't know.
I don't have that to hand.
Yeah, I don't recognize, or I didn't recognize the voice, but they basically said, the Heart of Dawn found out about Fina. That they found out that Fina doesn't know anything. And I was told not to try and find her. And that they can't get me too. But I don't understand what they mean by that. I don't understand why are they
So the
after
Heart of Dawn are definitely the people with Fina. They're
The Heart of
definitely
Dawn are
on some
definitely
kind of
people.
mission for a kind of prophecy, and we definitely have a link to some kind of prophecy.
No, but I
And it
don't
sounds like-
understand what it is that they're trying to achieve. Sorry, I completely missed that part.
No, completely, it's fine.
But I
don't
don't.
know. It sounds like you. So they said that they found Fina, but then she didn't know anything.
She didn't know anything about something. So if this whole maybe it's prophecy, like maybe they expected that she had some sort of link, or she's I don't know.
Sounds like she has some sort of something in her past.
Well, no, but yeah, something that led them to have to find her. But
and then what? I guess when they've questioned her or thought she is someone or is something, I don't know. They've then found out she doesn't know, but by then she's with them. Like they can't just let her go.
Yeah.
So maybe she's just rolling along because it's the only way she can be safe. I don't know.
True. But then the fact is that this person said to me that they can't get me too. Like they can't get me.
Like as in it would be dangerous if they got you, or like they're not able to get you.
As in they're trying to, like it might be dangerous for them to get me. I don't know. Like they can't get me. So she said to me not to try and find her because they to avoid them getting me as well. So, but I don't understand
Who could this be?
I don't understand I don't know what part I have to play. I don't understand I don't know who this person was. And next time that they speak to me,
What if they think that you're one of these, don't know.
One of these
don't know. Like there's the keeper, the follower, the veiled, the wanderer, and the chosen. What one were you wandered? Do you think you're a wanderer?
But I've wandered.
What makes you so special?
No, but so is she. She's wandered. I mean, for God's sake, she spent a lot of time in the wandering. You know what I mean? So, she's a wanderer. I'm a wanderer.
But then why did they go after her? And then now why do they want to go after you? I mean, I'm not being funny, but you don't sound like a keeper or a follower, despite following us around all the time. And I mean, there's no veil, so that's written off. And come on, I don't feel like you're chosen. I mean, I love you, mate, but wanderer though, that fits the bill.
I don't know. I mean, and
we're gonna have to get you some face paint, and a hood.
Do you think it's got something to do with this?
I don't know, maybe. When I said that, when you look, you try,
you're gonna have to
you see things.
Off if you want to.
I'm very, very stressed.
At this point, two things happen. Firstly, Elkas, Vice mentioning the Wandering Wood kind of pricks your ears because it's not common to meet people that live there or have come from there or have been there without them being tied to the tribes and the connection that the tribes have. Don't want to give too much away. Without you being roughly aware of it, and this person didn't seem like they were part of a tribe as far as you're aware. Secondly, Vice
so
then
try to.
produces a stone from about his garments that is, let me put it on thing for you guys.
On what? Roll20 or Discord?
It'll be on Roll20. I just have to put it in all players' journals to be able to show to players. So it should be on your
Oh,
Ah,
screens now.
yes.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
The stone.
I think that stays there until you click off it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that is in his hand. It is small-ish. It's about the size of his palm, kind of. I would say maybe 3 inches long by about 2.5 inches wide, and maybe like 2 inches thick at its thickest point. It's kind of a teardrop shape, very diamondy green. Diamondy green? That doesn't make any sense. A very sort of
Emeraldy green? Is that what you
no,
mean?
like a muted neon-y green. It's bright, but muted enough that it like doesn't give off light. It's not difficult to look at, but it's quite a bright color. Clearly, well made, whatever it is. Why don't all of you make Arcana checks and religion checks as well?
Oh, both.
Except Livia, you don't need to make a religion check for this.
Even me, sorry.
Yep.
Finally, I can make an Arcana check.
Did you make one earlier?
Because
Yeah,
Leia
you did.
was dumb as fuck. Like, oh,
I mean,
I can make Arcana checks for shit.
You
Be
don't
like,
need me to roll
magic.
religion,
You
did
don't
you
need
say,
to
Josh?
roll religion, Livia, but everyone else does.
I got 4 on Arcana and 18.
18 on religion, okay.
Nat 20
Nat
on
20.
religion.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
What was that for?
Did you two already roll your other rolls?
My Arcana's like just underneath my other one, I'm pretty sure.
That's why I waited to do mine.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
second.
I've got Nemea's in one place. I got Vice in one place. I got
Sick.
Livia. Oh, I see. So you got a 20 in Arcana and a Nat 20 Elkis for the religion.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So
Damn.
let me go through Arcana first.
We know all the things.
Nobody notices
Guys are
anything on
holy.
Arcana except Elkas, and I'll come back to it in a moment. Livia, 18 is your religion check, Vice, so Vice. Nat 20 Elkas, very much so. In fact, everybody recognizes this symbol to be the symbol of Arella. All of the gods have their own individual symbols, kind of logos, but they're mostly just they're put on things to symbolize that god. And if you didn't have the means or the space, for example, to depict the god in their entirety, for example, the white lady would be like a flowing white lady with long white hair in a long white gown. If you just wanted to express Arella without that entire portrait, you would simply use that symbol. So you'll see on the Temple of Arella, that symbol would be carved into some of the stone and stuff like that. It would be on some of the books inside, maybe even on the end of the pews and stuff like that. Elkas, you and you alone, when Vice takes out this stone, for a minute split second, this item gives off an instantaneous aura of absolute power, and in that same sort of next instant, it is inert. This thing has never had any power whatsoever, and it's not a magical item in any sense. It's simply a boring gem.
I just sort of like look at this stone and then look at everyone else like with a sort of weird like fear of how they couldn't like pick that up and like what the fuck is this?
It's definitely
Just-
one of the weirdest things you've ever come across.
Mm-hmm.
Describe it again, sorry. I'm being
So-
overly analytical now.
Only Elkas for a moment felt this thing to be incredibly powerful magically, but then in the same instant, suddenly it has no power at all, and it remains Elkas. This is important. It remains inert from that point onwards. It's just a gem. In like going forwards, it just seems like a normal gem to you, and that split second, you almost immediately, like a few seconds later, start to doubt that you detected that correctly at all. Because it's such a moment and then completely contradicted by how this thing is going forwards. Magic items are magic. They don't suddenly not be magic. They are permanently magic until they are somehow destroyed, which is actually really difficult to do.
I want to just do like an intelligence thing because I'm making assumptions myself in the metagame, but I wanna be like full on character.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can assume what you want to assume, what you want to assume.
It's cool. I want to just keep it like in character anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. If you think your character, for example, if you know how to read but you think your character is too stupid to read, that's one thing. But your intelligence is high enough that you can draw your own conclusions and feel comfortable in going with them in character. Is what I'm trying to say. If you think that you have thought of something specifically and you think, no, I don't think Elkas would come up with that, then fine, disregard it. That's entirely your call.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking he would be able to think of this.
Okay, cool.
Certain magical items and things like.
I mean,
if something could have power for an instant, especially when I've noticed someone touching it, even if inadvertently, I've made my assumption about why that power came out.
Okay. Do you express that with the group in any fashion, or you think maybe Elkas wouldn't know that, so you're not going to say it?
I'm keeping it to myself because I'm still wondering, like, what the fuck this is.
Okay. Can you repeat that? Sorry. Can you repeat that part again? Sorry.
No need. He's keeping it to himself.
No, I mean his train of thought. Sorry.
I feel like he's keeping it to himself.
Myself. No need to know it.
Rubbish. He won't tell us.
Know that I've picked up this thing because like nobody else noticed the power.
That's
from
fine.
it.
Okay, fine. We'll disregard that.
To everyone else, it's a green gem. Weird that it's got Aurella's symbol in it.
I'm gonna say to Vice, I'm gonna be like, oh, I forgot you had that. You know what? I feel like we should show this to my parents. Like they've been around a long time. They see a lot of stuff. That's a symbol of Varela. They might know like where that comes from.
Yeah.
Or seen other people with it.
Right now, I've been keeping it. I agree. Pretty close to me, and it rarely comes out. And I think it's time. Like,
and I understand that, but like,
no,
we really want to try and find her. And you know what? If someone in that temple, be it my mum or dad or a friend of theirs, recognizes it, then you know what? It could give us some other clue.
I'm saying that I agree. You know, I've been
cool.
keeping it quite under wraps for a while now, and I think it's been going on far too long. The fact that we're so close, I feel that she's not too far.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's do it.
Well, by the time we get back, it'll probably be quite late. So I guess we'll talk to them in the morning over breakfast or something.
Yeah. No, you wake them up.
It's sort of like very early the next day, like the first couple hours of the day, as you guys reach the Temple of Aurelia, the four of you. There was that older gentleman that runs the temple who greeted you previously. Nobody's there currently. The doors are closed, though not locked in any fashion. And as mentioned, the symbols are there, sort of built into the stone. You didn't pick up on them before, but you definitely have now, thinking about it. And much in the vein of celebrating Aurelia, there are long fabrics of white hanging from the building. And being that this is the temple, there is also a shrine inside that has several like reams of fabric and a large area where offerings have been made, and there's quite a lot of coin there, just on the ground. It's not being guarded or anything like that, but it's obviously, you know, you're stealing from a church if you were to take it. What do you guys want to do?
I'm gonna look and see if there's a spare room for Elkas. If there is, I'll show it to him and say you can sleep there for the night. It's fine. If it's not, then I'll give him my room.
Yeah, I think we mentioned.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's occupied by other people or whatever.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, let me think. Actually, there's how many of you? There's 4 of you. Okay, cool. So as you head upstairs, Livia, you know which rooms are which. You know your room, you know your parents' room, and you know which ones are usually spare. Do you want to attempt to just open any of the ones that you know are spare? You know which ones have been laid out for your friends as well, but obviously that was only Vice and Nemea at the time.
I feel like it's customary if the room's not being used to leave the door wide open.
Okay.
If they're all shut, then I won't open any of them.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. They're all shut.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna look at Nemea and be like, "I'm bunking up."
With you? Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I've got a bedroll. You don't mind if I use your floor?
Not at all.
Cool. So I'm just gonna take Elkras to my room. and just say that he can sleep there for the night, and then I'm just gonna grab a few of my things and just point at whatever door that I'll be staying in with Nemea and say, look, just come knock if you need anything, and then take my bedroll and stuff into Nemea's roll.
Okay.
I just want to quickly touch Vice on the arm and be like, "Well done for today," and then go into my room.
Thanks.
I'll thank Livia
welcome.
and just sort of
Yeah, man, you smashed it.
You know, I appreciate it. I'm a bit gutted that I didn't get to smug to admit.
You fully cut out for that. All I heard was smug.
Yeah.
Oh, I said, I'm a bit gutted that I didn't beat him, but I think that he was too smug to admit that I'd beaten him.
Dude, the dude admitted defeat and gave you money. That is
He
a
gave me
win.
money, but he said that I was
You matched.
better. I matched him.
I don't think he's ever going to admit someone's better than him, so I think that's as good as it's going to get.
I'm gonna say
Oh, yeah,
something after the
absolutely.
session that I think you're gonna hate.
Okay.
Why would you say that? That's just horrid.
Well, we'll see.
Well, just say it after the session. Don't be like, I'm going to say something later, but I'm not telling you now and you won't like it.
It's not relevant now.
Shouldn't
Anyway.
have said it then.
Yeah, I didn't want to wait. So, Elkas, sorry, did you say you wanted to say something to Livia?
I was just gonna say I'm gonna thank her for letting me have a place to stay and everything, and just go in there.
Cool.
Nah, no worries. Then I'm going to look at the mirror and be like, pillow fight?
No.
We'll go to bed.
Eldritch
pillow fight?
Roll history, Nemea?
For girls.
I want my pillowcase. Roll history.
Yeah.
I just realized my next character needs to be single.
It's difficult for you to be single and roleplay being in a relationship, being in a marriage.
No, it's not so. It's not so. I mean, other than the fact that I don't know anything about my own wife.
My wife with her
And he likes what?
eyes.
I mean, I like the mystery. Like knowing.
Nemea, when she says that, you have a brief flashback to a time that you had a pillow fight and immediately caught a pillow on one of your horns and just shredded it open.
It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea.
So, you all collectively sleep. I'll jump it forward to about 8 AM the next day. Do any of you want to do anything other than sleep? Are you all happy for me to jump?
I just wrote there.
Want to write the details of our investigation in my journal. Fair enough.
So I don't have to roll history or just be a dumbass and not remember.
Okay. Well, make a note of that somewhere.
Yeah.
And we'll forego history rolls in, just point out that you've got that next time that happens.
Just in the specifics of I know about a prophecy thing and whatnot, and little details like that.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys all rest happily. You all have the effects of a long rest if you'd spent any spells or anything like that. The sort of I really need to stop just saying play on that. It's doing it wrong. Alright, go away. No. One sec, whilst I fight with the bot.
I can prepare new shit, can't I? It's...
Yes, if you want to change what spells are prepared, now's the time to do it. You are long resting. Everyone's back to full health. Vice, how many points of exhaustion do you have?
I thought I had none. What? Oh no, I went down by one.
Yeah, you go down by one per long rest. I feel like you're on 2.
I feel like you're on 2, so it's now 1.
2.
Yeah, so you're now on 1, which means your speed is no longer halved. It also means that you should have been making all of your checks at disadvantage. No, it doesn't, sorry. No, yes it does, ability checks. So the cooking competition might have gone a bit differently if we'd remembered that. But I'm happy to roll with it. It was your area of expertise. You were hyped at the time. It's like having drank several Red Bulls, so it's negating the exhaustion for that
So
period.
I've now got 1 point, and do I still have disadvantage?
You still have a disadvantage on ability check.
My
checks.
speed is no longer. My speed is
no longer halved. That's correct. And Olivia,
still
you
get-
now have
I
a
still
braid
get-
in your hair.
Sorry, do I still have disadvantage in attack rolls as well?
No, that was the 3rd point of exhaustion. The only disadvantage you have now is disadvantage on ability checks.
Ability checks.
That's
Sweet.
the only negative effect currently afflicting you.
Yes, boss.
Cool. So, as I mentioned, you guys sleep through. It's a cold night, but you have the various blankets and covers and whatnot to sleep comfortably. You will sleep happily enough, recover your full hit points and spell slots and all the rest of it. If you want to change spells, like you said, Elcast, now's the time. Those of you that are set up that way, I think. Nemea, you don't prepare spells, do you?
No.
No. Ugh, the advantages of being a warlock.
That's
Yeah, I
fine.
don't have to bother.
Yeah. Having played a wizard so many times, that would be nice. So the morning comes round. You start to hear the kind of chirping of birds in the distance and the bustle of the city, the kind of low roar that's constantly throughout the entire place begins to build once more. You're somewhat sequestered in the Temple of Arella. It kind of sits a decent distance from the gate, but close to the royal district. It's probably the other side of the market square in terms of getting to the shadows. The last sector, just to comment on it, I think is, what was it called? The Acreage. The Acreage sits connecting to the market square, but the wrong side of the market square for the Temple of Arella. So you're in a quieter area, I guess is what I'm saying. As you all start to stir and wake, you can hear a mild clutter of plates and bowls and things from downstairs. Nemea and Livia, you guys are in the same room. What do the rest of you want to do? Or any of you want to do?
I'm gonna go get breakfast and find my mum and dad.
Mm-hmm.
I'll follow her.
Okay.
Um,
Go on, Vice.
am I awake? Sorry. We're all
Yeah,
awake.
everyone's awake.
Okay.
You roughly hear footsteps pass by your door.
Okay, cool. No, I'm okay. Did I buy a shield, by the way? I
Yeah, you bought a shield.
did buy
It
a
was
shield.
from
right?
Skullfist
Where
Hammer.
did I
I think
record?
that's what the place was called. I described it in detail at the time.
No,
I hope you've written shit down.
I got shield, ornate, and that was it.
Yeah, it also has the symbol of Skullfist Hammer, which I think was a fist, right?
That's
Yeah,
fine.
it was like a closed fist, and it sort of resembled his gauntlet.
That's fine. That's fine. It's not important as long as I know I've got one.
You do. It's +2 to AC, so I think your AC should be 18.
Yes. That's fine. That's all I need to know.
Okay. So you guys head down. Elcas, you're still in your room currently, unless you want to cut in at any point.
I feel like I'll probably get up at some point and go to find the others.
Okay.
And possibly eat breakfast.
So you hear the footsteps as well, and give it a moment so that you're not sort of opening directly into them, and follow them down slowly. Livia, without much hassle, you can see your father and your mother just sort of haphazardly moving around each other and making some breakfast in the morning. Finley's there and helping them, and the older gentleman, you see him just pass through the doorway that leads out to the open section of Arella, and after a few minutes you can hear the creaking of large doors being opened, presumably by him.
Okay.
They look at you and they greet you for the morning. They ask you if you want anything. They say that they're just generally making breakfast for everyone.
I'm just gonna say, yeah, we'd like to ask you something actually when we have breakfast, if that's okay. Like, I want to show you something that Vice has and see if you know anything about it, really.
Yeah, your mum just sort of goes, "Oh, of course, no problem. Why don't you go through? We'll bring it all through to you, and you can show us there."
All right, thanks, Mum.
You guys head through to the table, and you see that Finley's already there eating a stodgy soup. He's got bread on the table.
Morning, Finley.
Oh, morning, Livia. I don't remember his voice yet. Hang on. I think he had much of one. I also don't know where I've written it. Oh God. I have too many places for things. Hang on, I'm pretty sure he's on here. Yeah, here he is. He has no voice as far as I'm concerned, but he's a halfling. I haven't written a fucking voice for him, that's annoying. So in a slightly higher pitched
I don't think anyone
tone,
remembers.
but chill enough, he kind of just goes, "Morning!"
Good morning.
Oh, morning, it was Nemea, right?
Yeah. Good morning.
Good
Take a
morning.
seat. Oh,
What do you guys have for breakfast? More soup?
yeah, for the morning. And he kind of looks at you, Elkas, as you greet him, and he just says, "Hi, don't know you. What was the name?"
My name is Elkas. And I stick out my hand to shake his.
I'm Finley. Where are you from? He shakes your hand. How do you spell squeaky?
I'm from a tribe, from the Wandering Wood.
Ooh,
What?
Small community of wood elves.
good distance away, that.
Indeed. I've travelled quite a while to get here.
Well, I hope it's all you hope for.
Well, we shall see.
Take a seat. And then he kind of stands up, takes his bowl in through to the kitchen, disappears for a few minutes. Do you come down, Vice, at any point?
Yeah, I'll come down.
Okay. Livia, all of you, roll perception for me. Oh, except Vice.
Oh.
Lame.
Woo!
My rolls have been crap too.
Okay. Livia and Elkas, you both hear as Vice heads down to the kitchen and Finley opens the door. Zuko turns to him, and Kovu is me. Zuko turns to you, Vice, and kind of goes to shake your hand.
Okay.
As he does, he kind of grips your wrist rather than your hand and just pulls you a slight bit closer, Vice. And he says, seems all of you were out for a while yesterday.
Yeah. Is there a curfew here as well?
No, I just wanted to ensure that what we spoke of has remained the same. Max has no recollection of things that happened.
Wait. Oh. Is this the dad? Yeah.
Yes,
Oh right. Yes.
Livia's father.
Yeah.
If you slept with my mum again, we're going to seriously fall out.
Okay.
Oh,
And he's.
Livia's
I'll
back.
pull him closer. Be like, don't worry. I told you I'll keep my.
Enjoy your day. And he kind of lets you go.
Okay.
Livia and Elkas, you guys heard bits of that, enough to cobble together what was spoken about.
I'm gonna try and catch Vice's eye and sort of give him a glare as if
I'm
I heard
just gonna
you.
look away. Completely. I'm gonna look completely.
Lean closer and be like, just like that.
Vice has
What's that
forgotten how
thing
to look
on the
forwards for a moment.
ceiling up there?
High ceilings in this place.
Yeah, real high C. Oh, is that bread? I can smell from Fran's Bakery. Oh, yes. Would you guys like to grab some bread in the morning? Anyone?
Sure.
Let's
Wait. Vice. Give me show my parents your thingy.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, cool. And I'll take it off.
They pass through about here, about this time, and they lay out the soup. It's a chicken soup for the lot of you. It's okay. It's perfectly good food for a breakfasty type meal here with the bread and stuff. It's like a sort of sizable starter. And they put it out before all of you. They sit down, and your mum kind of scooches up close to you, Livia, and just says, "So what did you want to tell us about?"
So, you know how I asked you guys the other day about Vice and he has a wife, and we wanted to know if she'd been here, and Dad said he'd seen her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Vice has this thing from his wife, and none of us really know what it is, but it's got the sign of Arella in it. And then I'm gonna be like, Vice, give it to me.
I can't see how it's on a chain in this mimic.
What do you
Miss
mean?
Sherrod.
It is on the chain, man. I'm just taking it out, man.
How is it affixed to this chain?
It's wrapped. It's not a chain. Man.
Okay, so you've wrapped like rope around it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, fair enough. I'm happy to go with it. It's just suddenly on a chain that it wasn't on before. It's fine.
Doesn't seem like you are.
No, it's cool. You hold it out.
It's still inert.
Roll Arcana. And
Yes.
your mother looks at it and kind of turns it around, sees the symbol within it. Elkas, yeah, from what you can tell, still seems non-magical. She passes it to your father, and he kind of does the same thing. And after a moment, he goes, "Well, it's certainly the symbol of our patron. I'm not sure on the importance of her symbol being in a stone. I'm honestly a little confused how you'd even get that in there. I
Strange,
suppose
right?
Perhaps some magic was involved. I wouldn't let the guard see you with this," and he slides it back towards you, Vice.
Okay.
The instant he touches it,
Uh-huh.
I want to cast Detect Magic.
Okay, cool.
The
You know
instant
Detect
you
Magic
touch
takes
it.
time to cast. Unless you're
Fuck.
burning the slot. It's a 10-minute cast to cast as
Well,
a
yeah,
ritual.
of course. burn
Can
the
you
slot.
cast ritual spells? Can druids cast ritual spells as a ritual?
Yes.
Probably. I don't know.
You could also just cast them as spells. And
Yeah,
use
it
spells.
still takes 6
Yeah.
seconds.
I don't
Druids
care.
cast ritual spells
Spell
as
slot.
a
Fuck it.
He doesn't care. Just cast it.
I know, but it takes 6 seconds.
Great.
I know you are, it's all good.
Great.
I don't think you can, actually. I don't think druids can ritual cast.
No.
I don't know.
As part of the ancients learns the ritual spells, blah 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 blah. You gain the ability to cast wizard ritual spells as rituals. See ritual casting. You can cast a wizard spell as a ritual if that spell is a ritual tag and you have the spell in your spellbook. Spells known and prepared. Druid ritual casting feature is worded in a similar manner so that they can only ritual cast druid spells. So no, yes you can cast ritual spells as a ritual as long as it is a druid spell. However, not relevant to the situation, I just wanted to clarify that for future spell casts. You take some time to begin casting this spell, and on a nat 20 you suffer 2 damage as Zuko slaps your hand, and it bangs hard on the table. There's a loud slam, and your hand immediately kind of goes red. He doesn't sort of slap it, let it bounce and go. He slams it and leaves his hand there. He stands up and kind of pushes back the part of the bench that he's on a little bit. It kind of wobbles and then sits back down, and he looks at you straight in the eyes and he goes, "I don't recognize you, and I'm not sure how long you've been in Stalvin, but there are rules in place that would cause anyone around you, when you're doing such things, to be in a lot of trouble. I would ask that you don't do anything like that again."
I'm gonna look at him like, oh shit, you got told by my dad. You're in trouble.
He's looking straight at you, Elkas, when he says this.
Well, apologies for that. My name is Elkas, by the way.
Nice to meet you.
He slowly lets go of your hand off the table. You could feel a decent amount of pressure as he's holding your hand in place. He sits back down. He just says, "Apologies. It's not our nature to do anything other than simply offer aid here. However, unfortunately, we live in a time that such practices have dire consequences. Know that that is the case in Stalvin and take that information away with you."
I shall. I want to be honest. I sensed a great amount of magic come off of that stone last night when the stone was shown to me, and ever since I've been incredibly suspicious of it. I was merely trying to find if I could see that spark again because it hasn't shown that power since.
I'm gonna be
Perhaps.
like,
But but we've been with this thing the whole time and we've never noticed anything.
Also,
Oh, I'm sure
I'm
this has come up
90%
before.
sure someone has actually done this
Yeah.
and realized the same thing.
Yeah,
because I remember
the same
this
thing has
happening.
100% happened to somebody else. I don't remember who.
It was one of you two because Leo definitely didn't notice it.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't Leia.
I don't think it was me, but I don't know.
Possibly me, because I have a high heart arcana.
Yeah, I get the feeling it was Nemea.
Yeah.
Yeah, my arcana is shit.
Roll history, see if she remembers.
Well, none of us particularly remember it, so we're going to go with it was Nemea. So when Elkas describes this Nemea, you remember this happening to you in the past.
Mm-hmm. Do you relay that?
I'm still like,
Alcus, I felt that same thing before, but
You
it's
have?
never felt it since.
This great power that just...
Appears and then disappears. As fast as you feel it, it goes.
Has he shown the stone to you since?
Yes, I have, but nothing has come of it since that time.
I'm
Because
gonna look at Vice like,
it is my
dude,
slight suspicion
for you.
Mhm.
that he could be causing the stone to erupt this power.
Right?
Because
Why don't we pass it around and see if either of you like?
in the
get a feel.
instant that he touched and shown it to us, that was when the power
Yeah,
came
but
out.
he's also got it out just now, and you didn't feel anything.
I could just be inept. I didn't bother to notice for it or look for it.
You weren't last night.
Does it matter which hands I hold it in?
I'm not entirely sure. I don't know how the stone works. This is merely
There's some kind
theory.
of animosity to it, maybe, or specific conditions that cause its power.
You were mentioning the possibility of him being one of these people in this prophecy. I'm just merely going off coincidence here, but
Maybe
maybe
we
it
should
has
all
some
touch
relevance.
it. Maybe all of us should touch it.
What, like hand it round and see if it explodes?
No,
Okay.
at once. Like all of us should put our
Oh.
hand or a finger on it.
Are you sure that's
We should-
wise?
we
I just
should
got
all
my own
touch it.
hand slapped for using magic.
It's
This
not
could be
magic.
worse.
It's not magic. We're not casting anything. We're just touching the gem.
Just touching it.
Can we all touch?
As you guys are discussing this, Zuko
can we all
looks
touch my
at
gem?
Thea and just goes, "You're not touching it." And she goes, "No, I wasn't going to."
I love this. That's so cute.
I will just agree and just sort of look to Olivia and Vice and just be like, I guess it's worth a shot.
Okay. So
And then I
Vice,
try
place...
go on.
Yeah.
Go on, you guys.
No, you go on. It's fine.
So Vice, assuming you're willing, you place the stone out, you hold it out, however you want to do it, and everybody touches it at the same time. How many hit points do you guys have collectively?
400.
No, everyone roll Arcana.
I have 33 at this moment.
You've long rested, so if 33 isn't your maximum, it should be. Vice,
Can I cast guidance on myself?
Vice, you have
I'm down to
disadvantage, and
33.
Livia, if you don't have the knowledge to know that you shouldn't try and cast guidance if you don't want a slapped hand by now.
Oh.
You go to cast guidance and your father just touches you. Like, stop.
I just look at him and get this flashback of like him beating Elkas, and I'm like, no.
Alright, okay, well.
Okay.
I got
You all touch it, and for
Do that.
yeah.
for a good sort
Touch it,
of
guys.
7, 8,
Touch it.
9, 10 seconds, you all have a lovely moment where everyone's touching a green gem. It's nice.
Yeah. It's nice,
Well,
right?
that was stupid.
Really?
Well, did you
we're
feel
fine?
nothing?
There's nothing.
It's-
I was
it's
expecting
okay, I
something
mean-
a bit more grandiose than that.
Yeah, man.
Zuko at this
But-
point says,
You know what, though?
if you are going to carry out any other experiments, it might be best to do so beyond the walls.
Yes.
That
yes,
is-
I agree. It was just a
Okay, you know what? I'm sorry, I didn't mean
fleeting
to
moment
disrespect.
of
Sorry.
weakness.
We'll come back to this at a later date.
I'm sorry we couldn't be of more help. I've not seen anything like this before, but honestly, my main concern is guards start walking at any moment.
Okay.
Well,
Hmm.
Alright, cool. I'm just gonna hide. I'm just gonna put it back to where it came from, underneath my
On its
Garb.
chain.
on its yeah, on its chain.
Okay. So you guys finish out your meal. As time passes by, about an hour passes by, you guys eating and sort of chatting back and forth. Zuko at some point takes the things away. He calls Finley to give him a hand, and they're only gone for about 15 minutes or so. They come back out. Finley goes off to one of the pews and just sort of takes a seat and starts ruffling through some papers. A guard does come through, but he seems pretty unofficial. But he's wearing armor and the whites that represent Stalvan. You can see that he has the symbol of Stalvan on part of his garb, and he takes a seat at the back. He's there for about 10 minutes. He comes to the front and he drops about 7 copper in a bowl in front of the ornate statue of the White Lady. He kind of looks over at your group, actually. Okay. And the mayor, he looks at you and
Yes.
just kind of tips his head and says, "All the best," and then turns around and leaves.
Thank you.
The older fellow running things kind of greets him on his way in and the way out. Here, I'm still under the impression that we named that guy, but I don't remember his name, so I'm not going to say it.
Named man.
Mr. Man.
Unnamed man.
What do you guys want to do from this point onwards? People are like, what's the word? Ad hoc, just sort of coming in and out. Everyone that does come leaves some sort of coin.
I'll just sort of turn to Livia and say, shall we head to the library soon?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna. Sorry, who is this? Is this donation as part of the temple? Yeah. I'm
Yes.
assuming.
Yeah, it's an obvious donation comprised in a small space in front of a large depiction of the White Lady, sort of carved out of a smooth white stone.
I'm gonna go leave 3 silver and 1 gold.
I plop one of my golds in there as I walk past.
I'm gonna pop 2 of my golds in there.
God, just trying to one-up me, you fucking rich man.
Hey, if I wanted to do that, I'd drop plats.
He's got enough.
Do
of them.
it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Trouble
I
in.
just wanted to round, hey, listen. I just wanted to round down my gold.
Yeah, that's what Livia did.
I had 72.
No, it
I was
isn't.
like, you know what? I need it to
That's
round.
my standard donation.
Trouble brewing in the detective bros already.
Mm.
So, you
Right.
guys all offer this boon, and you feel better for it. Everybody gets 1 temp HP.
I suddenly
Oh,
feel like
wow.
been speaking to Leo. I felt this before.
So you all get 1 temp H point. Hit
One
P.
Oh, you
H point.
1
I
hit
like a
P.
point.
And you're free to do what you like. You know that it's about a 2-hour walk to the centre of the market square, and you know that the library is kind of that sort of distance as well, at a bit of an angle. Olivia knows the way.
I'll lead the way.
Okay.
Either
Um,
way,
So
Sick.
you all head through Stalvan, another wintry day, but bright enough at this kind of time. It's early, but the sun is fully risen. It's the 3rd of Aurelis. You guys have the entire day today and most of the day tomorrow. You get to the library without any hassle. It's a very large, predominantly more wood in the structure of this building than stone in comparison to other buildings. It's still predominantly stone, but it seems as though they've tried to go for a slightly older look, a more classical style, unlike the other buildings in Stalvan. It's a very big building. There are probably almost, I would say, like almost 10,000 books in this place.
Well,
It's like 2 floors, huge, and it's sort of closed in by other buildings that seem to just be kind of residential homes, slightly nicer ones. But it's kind of like paying for a studio apartment that's close to Tower Bridge. They're very fancy, but they're a bit small.
have you
and,
been to Tower Bridge?
Yes. I mean, I've been to the fancy apartments near Tower Bridge. I'm thinking of my uncle's place, okay? So they're very fancy places, but they're not that big because they're in such a busy go-through area. Just before you head inside, we're going to wait a week because this is the end of the session.
Oh no!
We'll pick up
Come
next
on,
week on
man.
Tuesday.
Cliffhanger time.
It's almost 9:30. We've actually run for a decent time.
And I still didn't use my druid shit.
I really want to see how many sessions we can go without Elkus being anything. No
Yeah.
class guy is my new type of player.
I am
All we
no
know
class
is
guy.
that
Wasn't
he has
it
the
full this
ability.
time, though?
He has the ability to pretend to cast detect magic. That's all we know about Elkas.
Yes. Yes.
He hasn't
that is
fully
it.
cast anything.
I
Yeah,
haven't
but he
even
can't
used my
really, 'cause
sword.
we
I
are-
haven't done anything except
Wouldn't-
kick a fucking door frame.
I
Badly.
mean, would Elcas use his
Elkas.
druid ability? Sorry, Elcas.
Using his druid abilities, because
Using
for
his
like
druid-
imprisonment,
Yeah, would it?
there's only one way to find out.
I become a cat.
You
Take him down,
haven't
it's a
seen
cat.
anyone in Stalvin yet turn into an animal.
There's probably a reason for that.
Perhaps
It's like,
they
quick,
don't.
catch the spider.
Perhaps they don't know how. Perhaps it is illegal.
Perhaps there's no other druid.
You can draw your own conclusions. Maybe there are no other druids. He might be the last of the druids. The last druid
Oh,
bender.
But that's interesting. That is interesting.
The
that
other druid.
I need to next session. I need to question Elcas actually.
What I
I
was
am
gonna
Elkan.
what I was gonna say to you, Vice, that I thought you might piss you off now is that right at the end of your cooking competition with Gaston, when he was like, you haven't bested me, but you've like equaled me, I was like, insight check him, do an insight check, and it never came, and I was like, fine, and then you all went.
Oh man, I forget about insight checks.
Yeah, I
man.
know you guys do, but
It's not about like checking if they're lying or not.
it's not so much about their lying. It's just to kind of read a person.
Right,
Or an
okay.
animal.
You can get their
Read a
like
being.
inner truth out.
You're thinking of the detect thought spell, but yeah, an insight check can be used to some degree. Yeah, that would have been good.
Okay. Well, other than that,
That was a good session.
You cut off, Max. Sorry. Yeah, that was cool. I'm gonna kill the stream. Bear with me one sec. Okay.
later stream. Okay.
Bye, stream. Do
Bye,
all the
stream.
stream
Bye,
things.
stream.
See you on Tuesday. Bye.
Bye, stream.